The clock on the wall reads 2:47 in the morning and my feet are screaming after 16 hours on the ICU floor, but I cannot bring myself to leave Mr. Caruso alone in his final hours. The doctors gave him until dawn at most, and his chart says his son is on the way, but the roads are slick with rain, and who knows how long it will take, and I learned a long time ago that no one should die alone in the sterile silence of a hospital room with only machines for company. The monitors cast their blue glow across his weathered face, and I can see he was handsome once before age, and illness carved their story into his features, and there is something peaceful about him now that the pain medication has finally taken hold, and his breathing has settled into that slow rhythm that means the end is near. I adjust his blanket one more time, even though it does not need adjusting, and check the IV line, even though I checked it 5 minutes ago, and then I do what I always do for my patients in their final moments. I pull the chair closer to his bed and take his hand in mine and feel the papery texture of his skin and the coolness that has already begun to settle into his fingers, and I close my eyes and let the melody rise from somewhere deep in my chest where I keep all my memories of my father. The lullaby is Italian, and I do not speak the language, but my father taught me the sounds phonetically when I was small and told me it was a song his own teacher had shared with him years ago, and that it was meant to bring peace to troubled souls and comfort to the dying. Nina, oh Nina, fan, fan, fan. The words flow soft and low, and I let my voice wrap around them like a blanket, and I think about my father singing this same song to me when I had nightmares as a child, and later when he was the one in the hospital bed 3 floors down from where I sit now, and I sang it back to him in his final hours 5 years ago. I do not notice the man in the doorway at first, because my eyes are closed, and I am lost in the memory, and the melody, and the sacred stillness of this moment between life and whatever comes after. No one should die alone, Mr. Caruso, I whisper between verses. Your son will be here soon, but until then, you have me. I continue singing, and the rain patters against the window like accompaniment, and the monitors beep their steady countdown, and somewhere down the hall a phone rings. But here in this room, there is only the song, and the dying man, and the peace I am trying to give him. I do not hear the footsteps in the corridor, or the door opening wider, or the sharp intake of breath from the man who has just arrived. I am deep into the second verse, when something makes me aware of another presence, and my eyes fly open, and I turn to see him standing there. He is tall and broad-shouldered, in an expensive black suit that looks like it costs more than 3 months of my salary, and his dark hair is perfectly styled, despite the late hour, and the rain I can see, glistening on his shoulders. But it is his face that stops my heart. He is maybe 30 or 35 with the kind of sharp, handsome features you see in old Italian films, and his eyes are so dark they look black in the dim light, and those eyes are fixed on me with an intensity that makes my breath catch. His hand grips the doorframe so hard his knuckles have gone white, and I realize with a shock that tears are streaming down his face, unchecked and unacknowledged, as if he does not even know he is crying. For a moment we just stare at each other, and I can see his chest heaving like he has been running, and there is something wild in his expression, something broken and raw, that makes me want to go to him, even as every instinct tells me this man is dangerous. How do you know that song? His voice comes out hoarse and rough like gravel and broken glass, and there is an edge to it that sends a chill down my spine, despite the warmth of the room. I am so sorry, I say quickly, standing up and smoothing my scrubs with hands that have started to tremble. I did not hear you come in. Your father. Where did you learn it? He cuts me off and takes a step into the room, and I can see now that he is not just tall, but powerfully built, and he moves with a controlled grace that reminds me of the big cats I saw once at the zoo, all leashed violence and coiled strength. Who taught you? His voice cracks on the last word, and the desperation in it frightens me more than the intensity. because it speaks of something beyond grief, beyond loss, something that has been buried so deep for so long that its sudden resurrection is physically painful. My father, I managed to say. He was a music teacher. He taught me lots of songs from different cultures, and this one. I trail off because the man has moved closer to the bed now, and he is looking down at his father with an expression of such profound sorrow that I feel like an intruder in this moment. Your father. He repeats the words like he is testing them. Where? When? I am confused by the questions, and by the way his hands are shaking as he reaches out to touch his father's hand. He taught me when I was little, I say. Maybe 20 years ago. He collected folk songs. He believed music could heal. The man makes a sound that might be a laugh or a sob. 20 years ago. He closes his eyes and I see his jaw clench. 25 years ago, my mother used to sing that exact song to me. Every night before bed. The same melody. The same words. I have not heard it since the night before she died. The revelation hangs in the air between us, and I do not know what to say, because this seems impossible, and yet here we are connected by a lullaby across decades and tragedy. I am about to ask him about his mother when the monitor beside the bed changes its tone, and I snap back into nurse mode and move to Mr. Caruso's other side. His breathing has changed again, growing shallower and more irregular, and I check his pulse and his pupils, and I know we are down to minutes now, not hours. Your father, I say gently to the man. You should talk to him. Tell him anything you need to say. He might be able to hear you still. The man looks at me, and something in his expression shifts, becomes less wild and more focused. You were singing to him. I nod. I always do. For the ones who are alone, so they know someone cares. He studies me for a long moment, and I cannot read what is happening behind those dark eyes, but I feel assessed, weighed, measured against some standard I do not understand. Sing it again. It is not a request. Please. I hesitate, because this feels different now, knowing what this song means to him, knowing I am reopening a wound that has been festering for 25 years. But then I look at Mr. Caruso, and I think about how he is leaving this world, and maybe hearing his grandson's mother's lullaby one last time is a gift. And so I open my mouth and let the melody come again. This time, I am acutely aware of the man standing across the bed from me, and I can feel his gaze on my face as I sing, and when I get to the phrase that made him buckle before I see it happen again, his knees give out, and he catches himself on the bed rail, and his shoulders shake with silent sobs, and I keep singing because I do not know what else to do. The song wraps around us and around the dying man between us, and for these few minutes we are suspended in something sacred. When the last note fades, I open my eyes to find the man staring at his father's face. Thank you, he says so quietly I almost miss it. For being with him, for giving him that. Before I can respond, the monitor flatlines and the sound cuts through the moment like a knife. I move automatically, calling the time of death and checking for any signs I might have missed, but I know he is gone. The man does not move, does not speak, just stands there with one hand on his father's shoulder and tears still wet on his face. I am so sorry for your loss, I say, after I have finished the necessary procedures. He was a good man from what I could see in his records. You do not know anything about my father. The words are not angry, just flat and factual. Or about me. You do not know who we are, what we are. But you sang to him anyway. He finally looks at me again, and there is something new in his expression now. Something calculating. And you knew my mother's song. I did not know it was your mother's, I protest. My father taught me. I told you, your father. He straightens to his full height, and suddenly the grief-stricken son is gone, and in his place is someone else, someone harder and more dangerous. Robert Mitchell. He taught music at Lincoln Community Center in 1999. How do you know that I breathe? How do you know my father's name? The same way I know your name is Grace Catherine Mitchell. The same way I know you live alone in apartment 4B on 7th Street. The same way I know you have been working double shifts for 3 months to pay off your student loans. He moves around the bed toward me. The same way I will know everything else about you by morning. You need to leave, I say, trying to sound firm, but my voice shakes. I need to call the attending and there are procedures. His hand shoots out and catches my wrist, not painfully but firmly, and I freeze. How did your father know my mother? His face is inches from mine now, and I can smell expensive cologne and something else. Rain and night air and danger. I do not understand, I whisper. Your mother, I do not know who. Isabella Caruso. Murdered 25 years ago in what the police said was a home invasion, but what my father always believed was a hit by a rival family. His grip tightens just slightly. She used to sing that lullaby to me and to my sister. Only us. No one else knew it. So you tell me, Grace Mitchell, how your father learned a song that my mother sang to her children in the privacy of our home. I cannot answer because I genuinely do not know, and the intensity of his gaze and the grip on my wrist and the revelation that his mother was murdered are all too much, and I feel tears prick my eyes. I did not know I manage. I swear I did not know any of this. He stares at me for another endless moment, then releases my wrist and steps back. You are coming with me. No, I am not. I say, finding some backbone. I have other patients and you need to speak with the hospital administration about your father's remains, and I need to. You will come with me. His voice drops to something quiet and absolute. Or I will make a phone call and every person in your life, everyone you care about, will be investigated and watched and disrupted until I get the answers I need. Do you understand? This is insane, I say, but my voice has no strength behind it. Who are you? Dominic Caruso. He straightens his suit jacket. And as of 4 hours ago, when my father's heart started failing, I became the head of the Caruso family. The name means nothing to me, and he must see it in my face because something like grim amusement crosses his features. You really do not know, do you? He shakes his head. Your father kept secrets, nurse. Big ones, and you are going to help me uncover them. Before I can respond, the door opens and another nurse pokes her head in. Grace, Dr. Patel needs you in. She stops when she sees Dominic and her eyes widen. Mr. Caruso. I am so sorry about your father. She will be along shortly, Dominic says with a smile that does not reach his eyes. We just need a moment. The nurse nods and disappears, and I am alone with him again. Meet me in the cafeteria in 20 minutes. He adjusts his cufflinks. We need to talk about my mother and your father and a song that connects two people who should never have known each other. And Grace. He pauses at the door. Do not try to run. I have men watching every exit. You are under my protection now, whether you want it or not. Then he is gone, and I am left standing in the room with his father's body and the echo of a lullaby that somehow just changed my entire life, and I realize I am shaking not just from fear, but from something else, something I cannot name. The rain continues to fall outside, and somewhere in the hospital a baby is crying. And I know with absolute certainty that nothing will ever be the same, and that the man who just walked out that door, the man whose mother sang him the same lullaby my father taught me, is going to turn my quiet, careful life completely upside down, and I am not sure if I should be terrified or if some small, traitorous part of me is grateful, because I have been sleepwalking through my existence since my father died, and Dominic Caruso, with his grief and his intensity and his dangerous promises, has just woken me up. I stay with Mr. Caruso until the end comes 2 hours later, and Dominic sits on the opposite side of the bed holding his father's hand in silence, and I watch the monitors track the final decline, and when the moment arrives, I am the one who calls it and records the time and begins the necessary procedures while Dominic just sits there motionless, staring at his father's face as if memorizing every line, every feature before they are gone forever. I maintain my professional composure because that is what I am trained to do. and I speak in the gentle tones I use for all grieving families, and I give him space to process while I complete the documentation. But inside, I am still shaking from his earlier threats and the mystery of the song, and the way he looked at me, like I held answers to questions I did not even know existed. I am very sorry for your loss, Mr. Caruso, I say when the immediate tasks are done. Your father seemed like a good man from his records. He was. Dominic does not look up from his father's face. He was also the head of the Caruso family for 43 years. The words hang in the air, and I feel my body stiffen, because even someone as sheltered as me knows that name, knows what it means in this city. The Caruso family, as in, I cannot finish the sentence. You are a smart woman. He finally looks at me, and his eyes are dry now, all traces of earlier tears gone, replaced by something harder and more controlled. You know what my family does. I swallow hard because yes, I know, or at least I know the rumors, the whispered stories, the occasional news report about organized crime and territory disputes and violence that happens in shadows. I need to check on my other patients, I say, backing toward the door. The attending will be here soon to discuss arrangements, and I am sure you have people to call. Sit with me. It is not a request, despite the phrasing. I have other people who need me. I protest. They will be covered. He pulls out his phone and makes a brief call, speaking in Italian, too rapid for me to follow. And before I can object further, the door opens, and Linda Chen, the head of nursing, appears, looking flustered and confused. Grace. She glances between me and Dominic. Mr. Caruso has requested you take your break now. I will reassign your patients for the next hour. Linda, I start, but she shakes her head. It is fine. You have been on for 16 hours. Take the break. She disappears before I can argue, and I am left staring at Dominic, who has stood and is buttoning his suit jacket with precise movements. How did you do that, I ask? How did you just make the head of nursing rearrange assignments at 5 in the morning? I made a phone call. He moves toward the door. The cafeteria. We need to talk. I should refuse, should insist on staying with my patients, should call security, but something in his expression stops me, and besides, what would I tell them that a grieving son wants to buy me coffee and ask questions about a song? So I follow him through the quiet corridors, past the nurses' station, where my colleagues watch with curious eyes, past the sleeping patients, and the humming machines down 2 floors to the cafeteria, that at this hour is nearly empty, except for a janitor mopping the far corner. Dominic chooses a table by the windows, where the first gray light of dawn is beginning to break through the rain clouds, and he gestures for me to sit while he goes to get coffee. I watch him move through the space and notice how even the janitor seems to recognize something about him, because the man quickly gathers his supplies and leaves. The fluorescent lights buzz overhead, and the smell of old coffee and industrial cleaner fills my nose, and I wonder how my quiet, orderly life has spiraled into this surreal moment. He returns with 2 cups and sets one in front of me. Black. Sugar and creamer are on the table if you need them. How do you know I drink coffee? Black, I ask, taking the cup because I need something to do with my hands. I know a lot of things about you, Grace. He sits across from me. But what I do not know is how your father learned my mother's lullaby. I have told you everything I know, I say. My father was a music teacher. He collected folk songs from all over the world. He had notebooks full of them. He taught me dozens, maybe hundreds over the years. That one was just one of many. Where did he teach? Lincoln Community Center mostly. Sometimes he did private lessons, but the community center was his passion. He believed music should be accessible to everyone regardless of whether they could pay. Dominic goes very still. Lincoln Community Center. When? I try to remember. He worked there for years. Started in the late 90s, I think. I was pretty young. He finally left around 2003 to focus on private teaching. 1999. Dominic leans back in his chair. My mother volunteered there that year, teaching music to children. My father did not approve, but she went anyway. I feel something cold settle in my stomach. Your mother taught at Lincoln? He nods slowly. For about 6 months. Then she died, and my father forbade my sister and me from ever going back there. He said it was not safe, that it was in a bad neighborhood, but I always wondered if there was another reason. We stare at each other across the table, and I can see him working through the implications the same as I am. They knew each other, I whisper. Your mother and my father. They must have. He pulls out his phone and scrolls through something, then turns the screen toward me. Do you recognize this woman? The photo is old, the colors slightly faded, but the image is clear. A beautiful woman with dark hair and warm eyes holds a small boy on her lap. She is laughing at something outside the frame, and the boy, maybe 6 or 7, is looking up at her with absolute adoration. The woman is stunning, with the kind of classic beauty that transcends time and fashion, but it is not her beauty that makes my hands start to tremble as I take the phone. It is her face. The shape of her eyes, the curve of her cheekbones, the way her smile lifts slightly higher on the left side. I have seen this face before, in my mirror, every single day. That is my mother. Dominic says quietly, watching my reaction. Isabella Caruso. Taken about 6 months before she died. I cannot speak, cannot breathe, because the resemblance is impossible to ignore. This woman who died 25 years ago looks like she could be my sister or my mother or some strange genetic echo across time. We could be related, I manage. Possibly. His eyes never leave my face. Or it could be coincidence. But I do not believe in coincidences, Grace. Not when it comes to my mother's death. What happened to her, I ask, though I am not sure I want to know. The official story is a home invasion. She was alone in the house. My father and sister and I were at my grandmother's for the weekend. When we came home, we found her. He stops, and I can see the 7-year-old boy he was in that moment. The police said it was a robbery gone wrong, but my father never believed it. He spent the rest of his life trying to find out who really killed her, and why. And did he? No. But now I am the head of the family, and I have resources he did not. I have been investigating for years, following every lead. And then tonight, I hear a nurse singing my mother's lullaby to my dying father, and I find out that nurse's father taught at the exact same community center where my mother volunteered the year she died. I set the phone down carefully because my hands are shaking too badly to hold it. This is insane. I did not even know your mother existed until an hour ago. I know. That is what makes this so interesting. He takes the phone back. You are not lying. I can tell. You genuinely had no idea. But your father knew something. He had to. Why else would he teach you that specific song? Maybe she taught it to him, I suggest. At the community center. Maybe it was just a song she shared with the other music teachers. He considers this possible. But my mother was intensely private about that lullaby. She told me and Sophia it was special just for us. She would not have shared it casually. I run my hands through my hair, feeling exhaustion crash over me. Mr. Caruso. Dominic. Call me Dominic. Dominic, then. I do not know what you want from me. My father died 5 years ago. Whatever he knew, whatever connection he had to your mother, it died with him. Are you certain? He leans forward. No letters, no journals, no photographs, nothing that mentioned her or Lincoln Community Center or anything from 1999. I open my mouth to say no, then stop. My father did keep journals, dozens of them, notebooks filled with songs and notes about where he learned them and who taught him. When he died, I packed them all away. I could not bear to go through them. They are in storage. Where? A unit across town. I have not opened it in years. I need to see them. His intensity ratchets up. Tonight. Today, I mean. As soon as you finish your shift. I shake my head. I am not giving you access to my father's personal belongings. He was a good man. He would not have been involved in anything. I am not suggesting he was involved in her death. Dominic's voice is sharp. I am suggesting he might have known her, might have information about her life in those final months. Anything could help. Help with what? Finding out who killed my mother. He says it like it is obvious. You said that was 25 years ago. The police investigated. Your father investigated. What makes you think you will find answers now? Because I have you. The way he says it sends a shiver down my spine. You are a connection I did not know existed. Your father knew my mother. He learned her most precious song. He was at that community center at the exact time someone was planning her murder. Maybe he saw something, heard something. Maybe she told him something. I need those journals, Grace. This is crazy, I say, standing up. I have patience. I have a life. I cannot just drop everything to help you investigate a 25-year-old murder based on a song. You can. He stands too. And you will. Because you are curious. I can see it in your eyes. You want to know why you look like my mother. You want to know what your father was hiding. And because whether you like it or not, you are already involved. I am not involved in anything. Not yet. His voice drops. But someone broke into your apartment 3 hours ago while you were here. They went through your things, specifically anything related to your father. My security team interrupted them before they found much, but they will be back. The room tilts and I grab the edge of the table. What? Who? I do not know yet. But someone else knows about the connection between our parents. Someone who does not want that connection explored. He moves closer. I can protect you, Grace. I can keep you safe while we figure this out. But I need access to those journals. You are lying, I whisper, trying to scare me into cooperating. He pulls out his phone again and shows me a photo. It is my apartment, or what used to be my apartment. Every drawer has been pulled out, every cabinet, opened books scattered across the floor cushions, slashed. My legs give out and I sink back into the chair. Oh my God, I am sorry. And he does sound genuinely sorry. I had men watching your building, but they were watching for people coming after you, not going into your apartment. By the time they realized what was happening, the damage was done. I need to call the police, I say, reaching for my phone. He catches my wrist gently. And tell them what? That you sang a song to my dying father and now someone ransacked your apartment. They will file a report, dust for prints that will not be in any database. And meanwhile, whoever did this will come back. For you this time. Let me go. I try to pull away, but his grip is firm. Please, Grace. His voice is softer now, almost pleading. I know this is overwhelming. I know you have no reason to trust me. But I swear on my mother's memory, I will keep you safe. Just let me see those journals. Let me understand what your father knew. And then if you want to walk away, I will let you. Something in his eyes makes me believe him, or maybe I am just in shock, or maybe some part of me does want answers. Fine, I hear myself say. The journals are yours. But then I am done. Then you leave me alone. He releases my wrist. Deal. The dawn light is stronger now, painting the empty cafeteria in shades of gray and gold. And I sit across from Dominic Caruso, whose mother sang him the same lullaby my father taught me. And I wonder what secrets are buried in those dusty notebooks, and whether I really want to know the answers, or if some mysteries are better left unsolved. But it is too late now because I have already agreed. And somewhere in this city, someone is searching for the same information. And they have already proven they are willing to destroy my home to find it. And I realize with a cold certainty that my quiet life ended the moment I opened my mouth and sang to a dying man, and brought his son to his knees with grief. And now there is no going back, only forward into whatever darkness connects our families across 25 years of silence and secrets and death. I take a cab back to my apartment, even though I cannot afford it, because the thought of waiting for the bus makes my skin crawl. And when the driver pulls up to my building, I see the black SUV parked across the street with tinted windows, and I know Dominic has already posted his guards. and part of me wants to march over there and scream at them for invading my privacy. But most of me is just grateful that someone is watching because the idea of walking into my destroyed apartment alone terrifies me more than I want to admit. The damage is worse in daylight. Everything I own has been touched, violated, sorted through, and discarded as worthless, and I stand in the doorway for a long moment, just staring at the chaos before I force myself to step inside and begin the work of putting my life back together. But I do not start with the obvious things: the overturned furniture, or the slashed couch cushions, or the kitchen cabinets hanging open with their contents spilled across the floor. Instead, I go straight to my bedroom closet, to the back corner where I have stacked boxes that I have not opened in 5 years. They are still there untouched, and I realize with a jolt that whoever broke in was looking for something specific, something they thought would be more accessible, and they ran out of time before they got to the closet, and this small mercy feels like a gift. I pull the boxes out one by one and carry them to my bed, which is the only surface not covered in debris, and I sit cross-legged, surrounded by my father's life packed away in cardboard and tape. There are his books on music theory and composition, his collection of CDs organized by region and genre, his teaching materials in sheet music, and the small wooden flute he used to play when he thought no one was listening. And there, at the bottom of the third box, are his journals, dozens of them spanning 40 years of collecting songs and stories from every corner of the world. My hands shake as I pull them out, and I can smell him in the pages, that faint scent of coffee and the peppermint candies he always kept in his pocket. And for a moment I cannot breathe, because the grief is so fresh. It might as well be yesterday that I sat beside his hospital bed and sang him that lullaby and watched him slip away. I wipe my eyes and start sorting through the journals looking for the year 1999, and I find it three-quarters through the stack, a worn leather notebook with the year embossed on the cover in gold that has mostly flaked away. I open it with trembling fingers and see his familiar handwriting filling page after page with musical notation and notes about tempo and cultural context and the stories behind each song. I flip through slowly, reading his observations about Appalachian ballads and Guatemalan folk songs and sea shanties from Ireland. And then I reach November, and my heart stops. The entry is longer than most, and the handwriting is different, somehow more careful, as if he knew these words mattered. Bella taught me this one today. Italian lullaby, traditional. She said it was for her son. She made me promise to keep it alive, to teach it to someone who would remember. The notation for Ninna Nana fills the next page, every note precisely marked, and below it he has written the phonetic pronunciation of the Italian words, and I realize this is exactly how he taught it to me years later. Exactly these notes, exactly this pronunciation. I keep reading. Bella is afraid. She will not say of what, but I see it in her eyes when she looks at that beautiful boy of hers in the photograph she showed me. 7 years old, she said. The light of her life. She made me swear that if anything happens to her, I will make sure he knows she loved him. That the song will find him somehow. She talks about him like she is saying goodbye. I turn the page, and taped there is a pressed flower, a small purple wildflower gone brown with age, and beneath it a photo that makes my blood run cold. My father stands in what looks like a classroom with instruments hanging on the walls behind him, and beside him, with her arm linked through his, is the woman from Dominic's photo. Isabella Caruso. She is laughing at something, and my father is smiling, that gentle smile I remember so well, and they look like friends, like people who understood something about each other that the rest of the world did not. I stare at the photo and at her face, and at the undeniable resemblance between us, and I feel like the ground has opened beneath me, because my father never mentioned her, never spoke of any Isabella, never gave any indication that he had kept a promise to a dead woman by teaching her son's lullaby to his own daughter. My phone rings and I jump, nearly dropping the journal. Unknown number. I should not answer, but I do. You found something. Dominic's voice is quiet. I can hear it in your silence. How I start, then stop. Are you watching me right now? I have men outside your building, not inside. But I know you, Grace. I know you went straight to your father's things the moment you got home. I know you are sitting there right now holding proof that our parents knew each other. My anger flares hot and sudden. You have no right to have me watched, to know where I am and what I am doing. I have every right. His voice is still calm. Someone broke into your apartment looking for exactly what you just found. Until we know who and why, you are not safe alone. I look down at the journal, at my father's handwriting, at Isabella's smiling face. He knew her, I whisper. My father knew your mother. What does it say? Tell me. I read him the entries, my voice breaking on the words about the boy, and the promise, and the fear in her eyes. And when I finish, there is a long silence on the other end. My mother was a music teacher before she married my father. Dominic finally says. She gave it up when she married into the family. It was not considered appropriate. Women in our world were supposed to be wives and mothers, not artists. But she volunteered at that community center anyway. My father found out and forbade it, but she kept going. She told him she was shopping or visiting friends. I think teaching music was the only thing that made her feel like herself. There is more, I say. A photo. Of them together. I want to see it. Meet me. Where? St. Mary's Church on Oleander Street. Do you know it? Yes. It is where we held her memorial service. The only place my father felt safe enough to gather everyone after she died. 1 hour. He hangs up before I can argue, and I sit there holding the journal and staring at my destroyed apartment. And I should be angry, should refuse to go, should tell him to leave me alone. But instead, I feel a strange relief that I do not have to carry this alone, that someone else understands the weight of these secrets. I change out of my scrubs into jeans and a sweater, and I tuck the journal into my bag along with the photo, and I walk past the destruction of my home and down to the street where the black SUV is still waiting. The window rolls down and a man in a dark suit nods at me. Miss Mitchell. Mr. Caruso asked us to drive you. I should refuse, should insist on my independence, but I am too tired to fight, and so I get in the back seat, and we pull away from my building into the morning traffic, and I watch the city pass by the window and wonder what my father would think of me now, partnering with the son of the woman he tried to protect all those years ago. St. Mary's is an old stone church in the historic district, all Gothic arches and stained glass windows that cast pools of colored light across the marble floors. It is empty when I arrive, except for a few candles burning in the side chapels, and the smell of incense hangs heavy in the air, mixing with the scent of old wood and candle wax. My footsteps echo as I walk down the center aisle, and I see Dominic sitting in a front pew, dressed not in the expensive suit from last night, but in dark jeans and a sweater that makes him look younger, less like a crime boss, and more like a man who has lost too much. He stands when he sees me, and I notice his eyes are red-rimmed, like he has not slept either. You came. He sounds surprised. I said I would. I stop a few feet away, suddenly uncertain. This is where you had her memorial. He nods and gestures to the altar. Right there. I was 7 years old and I did not understand why everyone was crying. I kept waiting for her to come get me, to tell me it was time to go home. He stops and clears his throat. I have not been back here since. Why did you ask me to meet you here then? Because it is the only place I could think of that feels safe enough for this conversation. He looks at me. My mother loved this church. She said it was proof that beauty could exist even in a dark world. We sit together in the pew, and I pull out the journal and hand it to him. He takes it with shaking hands, and I watch as he reads his mother's words filtered through my father's observations, and when he reaches the part about the promise, his eyes close. She knew. His voice is barely a whisper. She knew something was going to happen to her. I think so. And she trusted my father to keep her memory alive through the song. He opens his eyes and looks at the photo, and I see his finger trace the outline of his mother's face with such tenderness it makes my chest ache. She looks happy here. Happier than I remember her being at home. There is more, I say. He wrote about her several times over those months, not romantically, like friends, like people who shared something precious. Show me. I flip through the journal and show him the other entries scattered across November and December. Small observations about songs she taught him and stories she shared about growing up in Sicily, and her worry about her children, and always that undercurrent of fear. December 15th, my father wrote. Bella came to the center. Today, with a bruise on her wrist, she tried to hide. When I asked, she said she fell, but I do not believe her. She is trapped. She loves her husband, but she is afraid of him or of his world, I cannot tell which. She made me promise again about the song. Made me write down every note, every word. She said her son must know she loved him more than her own life. I feel Dominic stiffen beside me. My father hit her. It is not a question. I do not know, I say gently. The entry does not say that. It could have been an accident. We both know it was not. His jaw is tight. My father was a hard man. He loved her in his way, but he wanted her to be something she was not. Quiet, obedient, content to live in a cage. When she pushed back, he trails off. I am sorry. I do not know what else to say. He is quiet for a long moment, staring at the photo of his mother, laughing beside my father. She made me promise if anything happens to her, I will make sure the boy remembers she loved him through song. He reads the words aloud. Your father kept that promise. He taught you the song. And you sang it to my father in his final hours. It feels like what? Like she planned it. Like somehow she knew that 25 years later, her son would hear that song again when he needed it most. We sit in silence, and the colored light from the stained glass moves across the floor as the sun shifts, and I think about my father carrying this secret for 25 years, teaching me a song without telling me why, making sure Isabella's love reached her son even if he never knew the source. Do you think he knew what happened to her, I ask? Do you think he knew who killed her? Dominic is quiet. Then he says, I do not know. But I think he suspected something. Why else keep such detailed records? Why else make you promise to remember the song? I need to find out who broke into your apartment. Who else knows about this connection? I pull out my phone and show him the photos I took of the damage. They were looking for something specific. They did not take my laptop or my jewelry or anything valuable, just papers, documents. His face darkens. They are looking for the same thing I am. Proof of what happened to my mother. Which means someone is afraid of what that proof might reveal, someone who was involved in her death. We need to keep searching through your father's journals. There might be more. I have them all at my apartment. You are not going back there. His voice is firm. It is not safe. It is my home. Not anymore. He turns to face me. Grace. I know you value your independence, but someone has already violated your home looking for information. They will come back, and next time they might not settle for just tossing your apartment. Next time they might wait for you. So what am I supposed to do? Stay at a hotel indefinitely. Go into hiding. Stay with me. The words hang in the air between us. At your house, I say. With you. I have a secure compound. Guest rooms. Security. You can bring all your father's journals, and we can go through them together. You will be safe there. I barely know you. You know enough. His eyes hold mine. You know I am trying to find out who killed my mother. You know your father made her a promise that connected us across 25 years. You know someone is searching for the same answers we are, and they are willing to hurt you to get them. And you know that right now I am the only person who can protect you while we figure out what your father knew. I should say no, should insist on maintaining my normal life, my independence, my boundaries. But I look at the journal in his hands and the photo of our parents smiling together, and I think about my destroyed apartment, and the promise my father kept, and the song that brought Dominic to his knees, and I know that my normal life is already gone, that I crossed a line the moment I opened my mouth and sang to a dying man. Okay, I hear myself say. But I have conditions. Name them. I keep working at the hospital. My patients need me. I will have my men drive you. I come and go as I please, within reason and with security. And when this is over, when we find out what happened to your mother, I get my life back. He studies me for a long moment. When this is over, you can make whatever choice you want about your life. But Grace, I think you already know that nothing will ever be the same. You heard something in that hospital room that changed both of us. We are connected now whether we want to be or not. I know he is right, even though I do not want to admit it. The song binds us. Our parents bind us. The mystery of Isabella's death. And my father's secret knowledge binds us. And sitting here in this church where Dominic said goodbye to his mother 25 years ago, I feel the weight of that binding settle over me like a promise or a curse. Show me, he says quietly. Show me the rest of what your father wrote. We spend the next hour going through the journal entry by entry, and with each page the picture becomes clearer. My father and Isabella were friends bound by their love of music and her desperate need for someone outside her world to see her as more than a crime boss's wife. She confided in him about her fears about her husband's business, about men who came to their house with violence in their eyes, about arguments she overheard, about territories and mergers and blood. And my father wrote it all down, not understanding what it meant, but preserving it anyway, as if he knew someday someone would need these breadcrumbs to find the truth. The last entry is dated December 23rd, 2 days before Christmas, 2 days before Isabella died. Bella did not come to the center today. I am worried. She called last night crying, said there was going to be a meeting, that her husband was making a deal with dangerous people, and she tried to talk him out of it. She said if anything happens to her, I should take the journals to the police, but I will not. I cannot betray her trust like that. All I can do is keep my promise. Teach the song. Make sure her boy knows he was loved. I look up at Dominic and see tears streaming silently down his face. She knew. His voice breaks. She knew they were going to kill her. We do not know that, I say gently. She might have just been afraid. The meeting could have been unrelated to her death. He shakes his head. You do not understand how these things work. In my world, meetings are where power gets redistributed, where alliances are made and broken, where people who are inconvenient get eliminated. If my father was making a deal and my mother opposed it publicly, she would have been seen as a liability, someone to be removed. By your father. No. He says it with absolute certainty. My father loved her. He would never have hurt her that way. But someone in his organization might have, someone who wanted the deal to go through and saw her as an obstacle. His hands clench into fists. I need to know who was at that meeting. I need to know what deal was being made. I think for a moment. My father mentioned journals plural. Maybe there are more. More details about the people she was afraid of or the deal your father was making. I have all his journals at my apartment. We can go through them tonight. We stand, and the colored light shifts across us, and Dominic looks at me with an expression I cannot quite read. Thank you. For what? For keeping your father's journals. For singing that song. For trusting me enough to share this, even though you have every reason to be terrified of me and my world. I meet his eyes. I am terrified. But I am also angry. Someone killed your mother, and my father knew something about it, and whoever broke into my apartment thinks I know something too. I want answers as much as you do. Then we will find them together. He holds out his hand. Partners. I take it, and his grip is warm and firm. Partners. We leave the church together and the black SUV is waiting, and as we drive through the city toward whatever comes next, I hold the journal in my lap and think about my father and Isabella, and the promise that has bound our families across 25 years of silence. And I know that Dominic is right, that nothing will ever be the same. But maybe that is not entirely a bad thing, because my quiet, careful life was just sleepwalking, and now I am awake, and whatever danger lies ahead, at least I will face it with my eyes open, and someone beside me who understands the weight of the secrets we carry. The Caruso compound sits in the wealthiest district of the city, behind high stone walls and iron gates that swing open silently as our SUV approaches, and I press my face to the window, taking in the manicured grounds, and the fountain in the circular drive and the mansion itself, a restored Victorian, that looks like it belongs in a historical society magazine, all turrets and gables and stained glass windows catching the afternoon light. "This is where you live?" I ask, and Dominic nods without looking up from his phone, where he has been reading messages with increasing tension in his jaw. "This is where I grew up, where my mother died." The words cast a shadow over the beauty, and I see the property differently now, as a place of tragedy as much as wealth. We pull up to the front entrance, where more men in dark suits wait, and Dominic helps me out of the car with a hand on my elbow that feels both protective and possessive. "I need to make some calls," he says. "Marco will show you to a guest room. You can rest, and then we will go through more of your father's journals tonight." "I am not tired," I protest, even though exhaustion is pulling at my bones. "I want to keep searching." "You have been awake for over 24 hours. His voice is firm. "Rest first. Then we work." Before I can argue, a man approaches us, older, with silver hair and sharp eyes that take my measure in a single glance. "This must be her," he says to Dominic in accented English. "She looks like Isabella. The resemblance is remarkable." "Marco, this is Grace Mitchell." Dominic makes the introduction. "Grace, this is Marco Vitelli. He was my father's consigliere and now he is mine. He has been with our family since before I was born." Marco takes my hand and his grip is gentle despite the calluses I feel. "Your father was Robert Mitchell, the music teacher." I stiffen. "How do you know that?" "I know many things, Miss Mitchell." Marco's eyes are kind but assessing, including the fact that your apartment was broken into this morning. He glances at Dominic. "We have news on that front." Dominic's entire demeanor changes, becomes harder, more focused. "My office. Now." He looks at me. "Grace, I need you to go with Marco. I will find you in an hour." "This is about my apartment," I say. "About my father's things. I have a right to know, and you will know. But first, I need to understand the situation fully. Please." The please costs him something. I can see it in the tightness around his eyes. "Trust me." Against my better judgment, I nod, and Marco leads me into the house, while Dominic disappears down a hallway, talking rapidly into his phone in Italian. The interior of the mansion is as impressive as the exterior, all dark wood and antique furniture and artwork that probably costs more than I will make in my lifetime. Marco takes me up a sweeping staircase to the second floor and down a corridor lined with family portraits. He stops at a door near the end. "This was Isabella's favorite guest room," he says, opening it. "She always put people she cared about here, said it had the best light." The room is beautiful, decorated in soft blues and creams, with tall windows overlooking the gardens, and a four-poster bed that looks like something from a period film. My bag is already there, sitting on a chair, and I realize Dominic's men must have gone back to my apartment and collected my things. "There is a bathroom through there," Marco gestures. "And if you need anything, just pick up the phone. Someone will come." He pauses at the door. "Miss Mitchell, your father was a good man." Isabella spoke of him often in those final weeks. She trusted him. That is not something she did easily. "Did you know her?" I ask. I was head of security for the family then. It was my job to know everyone in the Caruso circle. But Isabella. He smiles sadly. She was special. Kind in a world that does not reward kindness. Her death. He stops. It broke something in this family. In Vincent. In the children. We have never fully recovered. Do you know who killed her? If I did, they would be dead. His voice is flat. Vincent spent 25 years and a fortune trying to find out. We chased every lead, followed every rumor. The official theory was the Rossi family, our biggest rivals at the time. But we could never prove it. And now Dominic thinks my father knew something. I think your father knew Isabella was afraid. Whether he knew the specifics of the threat. Marco shrugs. That is what we need to discover. And whoever broke into my apartment, they are looking for the same information. Which means they believe your father documented something dangerous. Something that could still hurt them after all these years. He meets my eyes. You are in danger, Miss Mitchell. Real danger. But you are also under the protection of the Caruso family now. No one will touch you while you are here. The certainty in his voice should comfort me, but instead it reminds me how far I am from my normal life. I nod, and Marco leaves, and I'm alone in this beautiful room in a house that belongs to people I barely know, and I sink onto the bed and let myself feel the fear I have been holding at bay. Someone broke into my home. Someone is looking for my father's secrets. Someone might want to hurt me to keep those secrets buried. I should call the police, should get as far away from Dominic and his world as possible, but instead, I pull out my father's journal and read Isabella's words again, and I feel the weight of the promise my father made, and I know I cannot walk away. Not until I understand what he knew. Not until I help Dominic find the truth. I must drift off, because I wake to a soft knock on the door, and afternoon light has shifted to early evening. Come in. I call, sitting up and smoothing my hair. Dominic enters, and he has changed into dark jeans and a black sweater, and his face is grim. We need to talk. He sits in the chair across from the bed. The break-in at your apartment. It was not random. How do you know? Because they came back. While you were here, they went to your storage unit, the one with your father's things. My heart stops. Did they? They did not get in. My men were watching. We interrupted them, but Grace, they knew exactly where to look. They had the unit number, the location. Someone has been watching you for a while, gathering information. I feel sick. Who? We caught one of them. Marco is questioning him now. Dominic's voice is careful. But based on the tattoos and the way he is refusing to talk, I believe they are Rossi soldiers, the family your father suspected. Yes. If they are involved in searching for your father's journals, it suggests they have something to hide. Something Isabella told your father that could implicate them in her murder. I stand and pace to the window. This is insane. I am a nurse. I work double shifts and go home and water my plants and live a quiet life. I do not get targeted by organized crime families. You do now. He stands too. Grace. I know this is overwhelming, but you need to understand the reality. You have information or access to information that powerful people want buried. They will not stop. Not until they are certain you cannot expose them. So what am I supposed to do? Go into hiding, change my name, disappear. You stay here, under my protection. You continue your life as normally as possible, but with security. And we find out what your father knew before they do. I am not some damsel for you to lock in a tower. I whirl to face him. I have patients who depend on me. A life. You will not have a life if the Rossis think you know something that could implicate them in my mother's murder. His voice is hard. They have already shown their hand by breaking into your apartment, by targeting your storage unit. The next step is targeting you directly. Why would they care after 25 years? Because I am finally in a position to do something about it. He steps closer. My father spent his life hunting for answers, but he was old and sick and losing power. Now I am head of the family. I have resources, connections, the ability to pursue this in ways he could not. And they know it. They know if I find proof they killed my mother, I will burn their entire organization to the ground. So they are trying to destroy the evidence first. Exactly. And you are the key to that evidence. I sink back onto the bed. This cannot be happening. But it is. He kneels in front of me so we are eye level. Grace. I am asking you to trust me. Stay here. Let me protect you. Let me keep you safe while we figure out what your father knew. And then what? You find your mother's killer and I go back to my apartment and pretend none of this happened. If that is what you want, yes. Something in his voice makes me look at him more closely. But you do not think I will want that. I think. He pauses, choosing his words carefully. I think you feel it too. This connection between us. Not just our parents. Us. The moment I heard you sing, I knew you were going to change everything. I should laugh, should tell him he is being dramatic, but I cannot because he is right. Something did shift in that hospital room, something I do not understand and cannot name. My mother saw something good in your father, he continues, good enough to trust him with her son's memories. I am choosing to see that same goodness in you. Do not make me regret it by getting yourself killed out of stubbornness. The words hit harder than any threat. I look at this man kneeling before me, this crime boss with his mother's eyes and his father's legacy, and I think about Isabella trusting my father and my father keeping his promise for 25 years. And I know what my answer has to be. Fine. But I have conditions. Name them. I keep working at the hospital. My patients need me, and if I suddenly disappear, it will raise questions. Agreed. My men will drive you to and from every shift. You will have security in the hospital as well, but discreet. I come and go as I please, within reason and with a security detail. I am not negotiable on this, Grace. Someone is hunting you. I will not leave you exposed. His voice softens. But I will not lock you in a tower either. You will have freedom within safe parameters. And when this is over, I stop. When we find out what happened to your mother, I get my life back. You leave me alone. You disappear from my world. He is quiet for a long moment. When this is over, you can make whatever choice you want about your life. But Grace. He reaches out and tucks a strand of hair behind my ear, and the gesture is so gentle it makes my breath catch. I think you already know that nothing will ever be the same. You heard something in that hospital room that changed both of us. We are connected now, whether we want to be or not. I know he is right, even as I want to deny it. The song binds us. Our parents bind us. This mystery binds us. And sitting here in his mother's favorite guest room, with his hand still hovering near my face, I feel something else beginning to bind us too. Something dangerous and unwelcome and undeniable. Okay, I whisper. I will stay. Thank you. He stands and offers me his hand. Come, I want to show you something. I take his hand and let him lead me out of the room and down the corridor, and he stops in front of a door I had not noticed before. This was my mother's music room. He opens it, and inside is a space frozen in time. A grand piano sits by the window, covered in a thin layer of dust. The walls are lined with shelves holding instruments from around the world. Sheet music is still stacked on the piano bench, and covering one entire wall are photographs of Isabella, teaching children, playing piano, laughing with her family, living. After she died, my father locked this room. Dominic moves to the piano and runs his finger through the dust on the lid. He could not bear to come in here, to see her things, to remember what he had lost. But I used to sneak in when I was young. I would sit at her piano and try to remember the songs she taught me. The lullaby was the only one I could recall fully. Why are you showing me this? Because. He looks at me, and there is a vulnerability in his eyes I have not seen before, because you brought her back to me. For 25 years, I have tried to forget, tried to bury the memories because they hurt too much. But when I heard you sing, he stops. It was like she was in the room again, like she was telling me it was time to stop running, time to find the truth. I moved to stand beside him at the piano. She loved you very much. I can see it in every entry my father wrote. She talked about you constantly, about how smart you were, how kind, how she wanted you to have a better life than the one she had. I want that too. His voice is fierce. I want to build something different, something my mother would have been proud of. But first, I need to know who took her from me, and I need to make them pay. We stand together in the dusty music room surrounded by the ghost of Isabella, and I think about my father writing in his journal about her fear and her love and her desperate hope that her son would know she died, trying to protect him, and I make a silent promise to them both. I will help Dominic find the truth, no matter what it costs. That night, we sit in Dominic's office, which is all dark wood and leather and walls lined with books, and on one wall is a memorial to his mother. Her photographs, her sheet music framed under glass. The scarf she wore the day she died, preserved carefully. Rain continues to fall outside and through the tall windows. I can see armed men patrolling the grounds, and the reality of where I am, and what I have agreed to settles over me. Dominic pours himself whiskey and offers me some, but I shake my head, needing to keep my mind clear. We spread my father's journals across his desk and begin to read. There are dozens spanning years, but we focus on 1999, on the months leading up to Isabella's death. My father's entries paint a picture of a woman trapped between two worlds. She loved her husband, but feared his business. She adored her children, but worried about the legacy they would inherit. And she found solace in music and teaching, in those few hours a week at Lincoln Community Center, where she could be herself. November 30th, my father wrote. Bella is afraid. She mentioned a name today. Rossi. Said Vincent is negotiating with them. A merger of territories. She thinks it will lead to war. I told her to go to the police, but she said that would only get her husband killed. She is protecting him even as she fears him. I look up at Dominic. Rossi, your father was negotiating with them. A merger. He nods, his face hard. My father and Antonio Rossi were rivals for years, fought over territory, over businesses, over respect. But there were always rumors that they talked about joining forces, creating one organization instead of two. It would have made them untouchable. But your mother opposed it. She saw what it would mean: more violence, more power, more blood. She tried to stop it, and someone killed her for it. I can see him working through the implications. If the merger was important enough, if there was enough money and power at stake, someone might have seen her as an obstacle, someone who needed to be removed. We keep reading. December entries detail increasing fear. Isabella came to sessions with bruises she tried to hide. She talked about arguments with Vincent, about men coming to their house for meetings, about her feeling like she was losing her husband to something dark and hungry. And then December 23rd, the last entry. Bella called tonight, crying, said there is a meeting tomorrow, Christmas Eve. Vincent is finalizing the merger with Rossi. She tried to talk him out of it, tried to make him see that this path will destroy their family. But he would not listen. She is terrified. She said if anything happens to her, I should take these journals to the police. But I cannot betray her trust. All I can do is keep my promise. Teach her son the song, make sure he knows he was loved. I read the words aloud, and when I finish, Dominic is staring at the wall where his mother's image smiles. Christmas Eve. His voice is hollow. The meeting was Christmas Eve. We came home Christmas morning and found her. So she died the night of the meeting. Or because of the meeting. I look at the journal. Do you know who attended? Who was there with your father and Rossi? No. My father never told me the details. Said I was too young. But Marco might know. He was head of security then. He would have been there. Dominic pulls out his phone and sends a text. Within minutes, Marco appears. You called boss. The merger meeting with Antonio Rossi. Christmas Eve 1999. Tell me who was there. Marco's face goes carefully blank. Why? Because Isabella knew about it. She opposed it. And she died that night. I need to know who had motive to silence her. Marco is quiet, then says, Your father, Antonio Rossi, myself, and Antonio's underboss at the time, a man named Luca Vitale. Where is Vitale now? Dead. Killed in a territory dispute in 2002. Convenient. Dominic's voice is sharp. Very. Marco meets his gaze steadily. What are you suggesting? I am suggesting that my mother died because she opposed that merger. And someone at that meeting decided she was a problem that needed solving. Marco's jaw tightens. Your father loved your mother. He would never. I know. But what about Rossi? Or Vitale? What about the men who had everything to gain from that merger going through? Did you investigate them? We investigated everyone. Marco's voice is weary. Your father spent years and a fortune hunting for Isabella's killer. We found nothing. No proof, no witnesses. Whoever did it covered their tracks perfectly. Or you were looking in the wrong places. I speak up. My father wrote that Isabella was afraid of someone specific. What if it was not a rival family? What if it was someone in your own organization, someone who wanted the merger and saw her as an obstacle? Marco and Dominic exchange looks. It is possible, Marco admits, but Vincent trusted his inner circle, trusted them with his life, with his family, the idea that one of them would. He stops. If it is true, if someone we trusted killed Isabella, the betrayal would destroy what is left of this family. Then we need to be certain before we accuse anyone. Dominic stands. Marco. I need you to pull all the records from that time. Everything. Meeting. Notes. Financial transactions. Personnel files. Anyone who was in our organization in late '99. I want to know where they are now. It will take time, then start now. After Marco leaves, Dominic and I sit in silence. The rain has intensified, drumming against the windows. You are chasing a ghost, I say. 25 years old. Even if we find out who killed her, what can you do? The same thing my father would have done. His voice is cold. Make them pay. That is not justice. That is revenge. In my world, they are the same thing. He looks at me. You do not understand, Grace. In your world, there are laws. Police, courts, justice systems that work. In mine, there is only power, only strength, only the certainty that if you wrong me or mine, I will destroy you. It is the only language people understand. That is not what your mother would have wanted. How do you know what my mother wanted? Because my father wrote it down. I flip to an earlier entry and read. Bella said she wants her children to have different lives, to escape the cycle of violence. She said if she could change one thing, it would be to give them a choice, a way out, to show them that strength does not have to mean cruelty, that power can be used to build instead of destroy. The words hang between us. Dominic closes his eyes. She said that to your father, but never to me. Maybe she was afraid to. Afraid you would see it as weakness. Or maybe. I hesitate. Maybe she knew she would not live to tell you herself. So she told my father. Asked him to teach you through the song. To show you there was another way. He laughs, but there is no humor in it. A lullaby is not going to change who I am, Grace. What I have to become to survive in this world. Maybe not. But it brought you to your knees. It made you remember who she was, what she believed. That has to count for something. We sit in his office surrounded by the evidence of 2 lives cut short and secrets buried for too long, and I know we are on the edge of something. The truth is close, I can feel it like a living thing waiting to be uncovered. But I also know that once we find it, there will be no going back. No way to unknow what we learn. No way to undo whatever Dominic decides to do with that knowledge. Are you ready for this, I ask? For whatever we find? No, he admits. But I have been chasing this ghost for 25 years. I am not stopping now. Then neither am I. I gather the journals. Tomorrow I will go through the rest of these. There has to be more. Something your father missed. Some detail that will point us to the truth. Tomorrow. He agrees. But tonight you should rest. It is late, and you have been through enough. He walks me back to the guest room, and at the door he pauses. Thank you, Grace, for trusting me, for helping me, for keeping your father's promise even though you did not know you were making it. I look up at him, and in the dim hallway light, he looks younger, less like a crime boss, and more like the 7-year-old boy who lost his mother. I am doing this for her too. Isabella. She deserved better than what happened to her. Yes, she did. He reaches out and his hand cups my cheek for just a moment. She would have liked you, I think. You have her heart for music, for compassion, seeing the good in broken things. I am not sure there is good in your world, Dominic. Then perhaps you are here to create some. He drops his hand and steps back. Sleep well, Grace. Lock your door. You are safe here, but old habits. I understand. I slip into the room and lock the door. And I stand there listening to his footsteps fade down the hallway, and I think about everything that has happened in the last 36 hours. My quiet life shattered. My father's secrets exposed. And Dominic Caruso dangerous and damaged, and somehow becoming something other than a threat. I look out the window at the rain and the armed guards and the high walls that both protect and imprison, and I know I have made a choice that cannot be unmade. I am in his world now, for better or worse, and the only way out is through. The first week at the Caruso compound passes in a blur of contradictions, and I find myself caught between two worlds that should never have intersected. My guest suite is larger than my entire apartment, with its own sitting room and a bathroom that has heated marble floors and a shower with 6 different heads, and I wake each morning disoriented by the softness of sheets that probably cost more than a month of my salary. The contrast to my modest life is jarring, and sometimes I stand at the tall windows, looking out at the manicured gardens with their Italian statuary and fountain, and I wonder how I ended up here in this gilded world where armed men patrol the grounds, and every door has a security code, and luxury masks the undercurrent of violence that runs through everything. But I maintain my hospital shifts because I need that anchor to normalcy, need to remember who I am beyond this mystery that has consumed my life. The armored SUVs that drop me off and pick me up are impossible to ignore, and my co-workers notice but say nothing, because everyone in the city knows the Caruso name, knows what it means, and I see the speculation in their eyes, the questions they are too afraid to ask. Linda, the head of nursing, pulls me aside on my 3rd day back and asks if I am all right, if I need anything, and I can see the concern in her face mixed with fear, because she knows I am connected to something dangerous now. I am fine, I tell her, though we both know it is a lie. I just need to work, need to focus on my patients. And she lets me, because what else can she do? During my off hours, I throw myself into the search with Dominic, and we spend long nights in his study going through every scrap of evidence we can find. We discover that Lincoln Community Center kept records from those years, and Dominic uses his connections to acquire them, and we find attendance sheets showing both Robert Mitchell and Isabella Caruso teaching music classes on Tuesday and Thursday evenings from September through December of 1999. We find photographs from a winter recital showing children performing, and in the background, almost hidden, I spot my father and Isabella standing together, watching with identical expressions of pride and joy. We find a guest book that Isabella signed each time she came, and her handwriting is delicate and precise, and seeing it makes something in my chest ache because this woman I never met feels more real with each discovery. The sessions were her secret rebellion, Dominic tells me one night, as we study a photo of his mother teaching a child to play violin. My father forbade her from working, said it was beneath her station as his wife. But she volunteered anyway, told him she was shopping or having lunch with friends. Teaching music was the only time she felt like herself, instead of just Vincent Caruso's wife. Your mother was brave, I say, continuing despite the risks. My father loved her, but he wanted to keep her in a cage. His voice is quiet, a gilded one but still a cage. She always found ways to fly, even if just for a few hours a week. He pauses, and I see something vulnerable cross his face. I swore I would never cage someone I. He stops himself. Someone who mattered to me. The words hang in the air, and I know what he almost said, and the knowledge makes my heart race. Is that what you are doing with me? I ask softly. Keeping me in a cage? No. He meets my eyes. I am keeping you alive. There is a difference. We develop a routine over those long nights. Dominic takes his coffee black with 2 sugars, and he has a habit of running his hand through his hair when he is frustrated. He speaks 3 languages fluently and switches between them when he is on the phone with his associates, and I find myself learning to read his moods by the set of his shoulders and the tone of his voice. He is gentle with the household staff, calling them by name, asking about their families, and I realize the dangerous crime boss is just one facet of who he is. Late at night, when the rest of the compound sleeps, he becomes someone else, someone younger and more uncertain, as if the darkness gives him permission to let his guard down. I notice how his expression softens when he looks at his mother's photos, how his hands shake slightly when he touches her belongings, how he keeps a small wooden music box on his desk that plays a melody I do not recognize. One evening, his sister Sophia joins us for dinner, and I meet her properly for the first time. She is 24, with her mother's dark hair and warm eyes, and there is a wariness in the way she watches me that I understand. You are the nurse who sang to Papa, she says, as we sit at the long dining table in a room that could seat 20. Dominic said you have Mama's gift for music. He said that. I glance at Dominic, surprised. I said you have her heart for it. He enters carrying a wine bottle. There is a difference. He pours. For Sophia, then me. Give us the room, Soph. I just got here, she protests. And now you are leaving. His voice is firm but affectionate. We have work to do. She rolls her eyes but stands. It was nice to meet you, Grace. Thank you for being kind to Papa in his final hours. Not many people saw that side of him, the gentle side, but you gave him dignity, and that matters. After she leaves, Dominic and I eat in companionable silence, and I realize how comfortable I have become in his presence. A week ago, the thought of sharing a meal with a mafia boss would have terrified me, but now it feels natural. You are close with your sister, I observe. She is all I have left. He sets down his fork. After Mama died and then Papa, I became responsible for her. Made sure she got an education, stayed out of the family business. She is studying art history at the university, living the life Mama wanted for her. Does she know what you do? She knows enough, but I keep her separate, protected, the way I should have. He stops. The way I wish someone had protected our mother. I think your mother knew the risks she was taking. Opposing your father, meeting with my father. She was not naive. No, but she believed in something bigger than herself. Believed that one person standing up for what was right could make a difference. He laughs bitterly. She was wrong. One person just gets killed. Or maybe she planted seeds. I lean forward. My father kept her memory alive through that lullaby, taught it to me. And 25 years later, I sang it to your father and you heard it, and here we are searching for the truth. Maybe that was her plan all along. To make sure someone would keep looking, keep fighting. You give her too much credit. Maybe you do not give her enough. After dinner, Dominic shows me parts of the compound I have not seen. His mother's garden, which he has maintained exactly as she left it, with roses and lavender, and a stone bench where she used to sit and read. The music room where Isabella taught her children and where dust motes dance in the lamplight and the grand piano sits silent. Family photos line the hallways showing happier times. Vincent and Isabella on their wedding day, both so young and hopeful. The children as babies, holidays and birthdays, and ordinary moments preserved in silver frames. I see the family they were before tragedy broke them, and it makes the loss more real, more painful. He treats the staff with kindness, I notice, knows their names, asks about their children, remembers details from previous conversations. Maria, the housekeeper, has been with the family since Dominic was a child, and she clearly adores him, calling him Nico, and scolding him for working too late and not eating enough. Carlos, the groundskeeper, brings Dominic fresh flowers for his mother's memorial every week, and they speak in rapid Italian about soccer and weather and ordinary things. I watch these interactions, and I see a different version of the man who commands respect through fear. This, Dominic is capable of tenderness, of loyalty, of care for the people in his orbit. One night, almost 2 weeks after I moved in, we are working late again, and exhaustion is making me punchy. The journals are spread across Dominic's desk, and we have been reading for hours, and my eyes are burning, and I need a break. Sing for me. Dominic's voice is quiet. Please. The lullaby, I ask. He nods, and I see something raw in his expression. I need to hear it again, need to remember why we are doing this. So I close my eyes, and I let the melody rise from that deep place in my chest where I keep all my grief and love. And I sing the words my father taught me, the same words Isabella sang to her son all those years ago. Nina, oh Nina, oh Nina, fan fan fan. My voice is soft, filling the quiet study, and I hear Dominic's breathing change, become deeper, slower, like he is sinking into the sound. When I reach the second verse, I open my eyes and see him watching me with tears streaming silently down his face, and this time he does not try to hide them. Sing it again, he whispers. So I do, and the second time feels more intimate, more deliberate, like I am giving him something precious and fragile. The lamplight casts shadows across his face, and the rain that has been falling all evening drums against the windows, and in this moment we are suspended outside of time, outside of the danger and the mystery, in a space that belongs only to us. When I finish, he does not speak for a long moment, just sits there with his eyes closed. Thank you. His voice is rough. For giving her back to me. I have spent 25 years trying to forget her because remembering hurt too much. But you, he opens his eyes. You make me want to remember. Make me want to honor her instead of just avenging her. I move from my chair to sit beside him on the leather couch, and the proximity feels natural. She would be proud of you, I say. Of what you have become. Of how you have protected Sophia and maintained her garden and kept her memory alive. I am not sure that is true. He looks at his hands. I have done things, Grace. Terrible things. Things she would have hated. In the name of protecting our family, of maintaining power, of surviving in a world that rewards cruelty. How can she be proud of that? Because you are still capable of this. I gesture to the study, to the memorial, to the vulnerability he has shown me. You are still capable of grief and love and gentleness. You have not let this world destroy the boy she raised. Not completely. I want to believe that. Then believe it. I take his hand and his fingers intertwine with mine, and the touch sends electricity through me. Your mother made my father promise to keep the song alive, to teach it to someone who would remember. He kept that promise, and I kept it without knowing, and now I am giving it back to you. That is not coincidence, Dominic. That is love transcending death. That is her telling you she is still with you. We sit there holding hands and something shifts between us. The awareness that has been building since that first night in the hospital crystallizes into something undeniable. I am falling for him, this dangerous, complicated man, with his mother's eyes and his carefully controlled violence, and his unexpected tenderness. And from the way he is looking at me, I think he is falling too. This is a terrible idea, I whisper. The worst. He agrees, but he does not let go of my hand. We barely know each other. We are connected by tragedy and mystery and circumstances neither of us chose. I know. And yet, I finish. Here we are. Here we are. He reaches up and tucks a strand of hair behind my ear, and the gesture is so achingly gentle it makes my breath catch, Grace. He stops. I do not want to cage you, do not want to trap you in my world. But I also cannot let you go. Not yet. Maybe not ever. I should be afraid, should pull away, should remember that this man is dangerous, that his world is built on violence, that getting closer to him puts me at risk. But instead, I lean into his touch. Then do not let me go. Keep me safe. Help me find the truth. And then, we will see where we are. Deal. He says it like a vow. The moment stretches and I think he might kiss me, but instead he pulls back and stands. It is late. You should rest. You have an early shift tomorrow. I feel the loss of his warmth immediately, but I nod and gather my things. As I reach the door, he calls my name. Grace. I turn. You are not like anyone I have ever met. You see the broken parts, the ugly parts, and you do not run. Why? Because everyone is broken, I say. Everyone has ugly parts. The question is not whether they exist, but what we choose to do with them. Your mother saw that in my father, saw past the struggling music teacher to someone worthy of trust. I am choosing to see the same in you. After I leave, I stand in the hallway for a long moment trying to calm my racing heart. The compound is quiet around me, and through the windows I can see the guards making their rounds, and I think about how strange my life has become. 2 weeks ago, I was a nurse living alone, working double shifts to pay off student loans. Now I am living in a mansion helping a crime boss investigate his mother's murder and falling for him despite every logical reason not to. I should be terrified, but instead, I feel more alive than I have in years. In my suite, I find that someone has left fresh flowers on the bedside table and turned down the bed and left a note in elegant handwriting. Welcome to the family, Sophia. The simple kindness makes my eyes sting. I am being welcomed into a world I do not understand by people who should be strangers, but who are beginning to feel like something else, something more. I pull out my father's journal and read his entries about Isabella, and I wonder if he felt this same pull, this same dangerous attraction to someone he should not have loved. But he did not love her, I remind myself. They were friends bound by music and mutual respect. What I am feeling for Dominic is different, more complicated, more consuming. I think about the way he looked at me tonight, the way his hand felt in mine, the way his voice breaks when he talks about his mother. And I know with absolute certainty that I am in trouble. Not from the Rossi family or whoever broke into my apartment, but from my own heart, which is betraying me by caring for someone I should fear. The rain continues and I lie in the too soft bed in the too large room, and I listen to the silence of the compound, and I make myself a promise. I will help Dominic find the truth about his mother. I will honor my father's promise to Isabella. And then I will decide what to do about these feelings that are growing stronger every day. But even as I make this promise, I know I am lying to myself because the truth is, I have already decided. I am already in too deep, already tangled in Dominic's world and his grief and his dangerous, beautiful eyes. And the only question now is how much I am willing to risk for someone I barely know, but who somehow feels like he has been part of my life forever. Like our parents bound us together across decades and death, and all I am doing now is fulfilling a destiny that was written the moment Isabella sang that lullaby to her son, and made my father promise to keep it alive. Outside, the rain falls and the guards patrol, And somewhere in this city, someone is hunting for the same secrets we are. And I should be afraid, should be planning my escape, but instead I am thinking about the way Dominic's hand felt in mine, and the way his tears looked in the lamplight, and the way he whispered, "Thank you for giving her back to me." And I know that whatever happens next, whatever danger finds us, whatever truth we uncover, I will face it beside him, because that is what you do when you care for someone. You stand with them in the darkness, and you hold their hand, and you help them find the light, even if it costs you everything. I find it on a Tuesday morning while Dominic is meeting with his associates, and I am alone in the study going through the last of my father's journals from 1999. The journal has a back pocket I had not noticed before, and tucked inside, folded and yellowed with age, is a hospital admission record from St. Augustine's, the same hospital where I work now, the same hospital where Vincent Caruso died 2 weeks ago. The patient name makes my hands start to shake. Isabella Marie Caruso. Admitted November 30th, 1999. I read the physician's notes and my stomach turns. Patient presence with contusions on left wrist and upper arm. Bruising pattern inconsistent with patient's explanation of accidental fall. When questioned about home safety, patient became agitated and tearful. Begged this physician not to file mandatory domestic violence report, claiming it would make situation worse. Against better judgment, honored patient wishes, but fear greatly for her well-being. Recommended follow-up in 1 week. Patient did not return. Below the medical record in my father's precise handwriting is a note that makes my blood run cold. Bella came to me after the hospital visit. Would not tell me exactly what happened, but I could see the fear in her eyes. She said V was under pressure from the Rossis to merge territories. When she objected to the violence, it would cause he. The sentence ends there, as if my father could not bring himself to finish. Then he continues. I tried to convince her to leave, told her I would help her and the children disappear. She said she could not abandon them, said she had to protect them from the inside. 2 weeks later, she was dead. I sat at that piano in her music room and played every song she ever taught me, and I wept because I should have done more, should have called the police, should have forced her to leave. But I honored her wishes, and now she is gone, and all I have left is a promise to keep her memory alive through song. I stare at the documents, and my vision blurs, because this changes everything. Vincent Caruso, the man Dominic loved and idealized, the man he has spent his life trying to honor, hurt Isabella. Maybe not intentionally, maybe not often, but he hurt her, and she was so afraid she begged a doctor not to report it, and 3 weeks later she was dead. I cannot show this to Dominic. The thought comes immediately. It will destroy him. Everything he believes about his father, about his family, about the foundation of his entire life will crumble. But even as I think it, I know I have to. We promised each other the truth no matter how painful. I am still sitting there, frozen with the journal in my lap, when the door opens and Dominic walks in. His meeting must have ended early, because it is barely noon, and he looks tired, rubbing the back of his neck in that way he does when he is stressed. Grace. He stops when he sees my face. What is wrong? What did you find? Nothing. The lie comes automatically. Just more of the same. He crosses the room in 3 strides, and I try to close the journal, but he sees the movement. Show me. It is nothing important. I am a terrible liar. My voice shakes. Just some notes about songs. Grace. His voice is gentle but firm. We promised each other honesty. Whatever you found, I need to see it. I look up at him, and I see the trust in his eyes, the certainty that I will not hurt him, and I hate what I'm about to do. I am so sorry. I hand him the journal. I should have hidden it, should have burned it, should have done anything but this. He takes it and begins to read, and I watch his face change. First confusion as he processes the medical record, then understanding as the implications sink in. Then something worse. Something that looks like his soul breaking. His hands start to shake. The journal trembles. He reads my father's note once then again, as if hoping the words will change. Should have what? His voice is dead, completely flat. Hidden the truth. Lied to protect my feelings. I try to speak, but no words come. My entire life I have hunted the people who killed my mother. He looks up, and his eyes are hollow, empty of everything except pain. I built an empire on the foundation of avenging her. Spent 25 years believing my father was the victim, that he lost the love of his life, that his grief was righteous. And now I find out. He cannot finish, cannot say the words. Dominic. I reach for him, but he steps back. My father hit her. It is not a question. Beat her badly enough that she went to a hospital. Badly enough that a doctor wanted to file a report. And she protected him. Begged them not to, because she knew what would happen if anyone found out that Vincent Caruso could not control his own wife. We do not know exactly what happened. I try. The record says injuries consistent with domestic violence. He finishes. Do not try to soften it, Grace. We both know what this means. He hurt her. The man I have spent my life trying to honor, the man whose legacy I have killed to protect, was a monster who beat his wife. He was also a man who loved her. I stand. Who spent 25 years trying to find her killer, who died still searching for justice. People are complicated, Dominic. Love and harm can coexist. It does not make it right, but it does not erase the love either. Do not, his voice is sharp, do not make excuses for him. Do not tell me he loved her while he was putting bruises on her arms. My mother was terrified. Your father wrote it. She was trapped, and I never knew, never saw it. What kind of son does not see his own mother being hurt? You were 7 years old. You cannot blame yourself for. I can blame myself for everything. He throws the journal across the room and it hits the wall with a crash. I am just like him. My first instinct with you was possession, control. You are mine now, under my protection. How is that different from what he did to her? Caging her, controlling her, hurting her when she tried to break free. You asked me. I move closer. You gave me choices. You have never once raised your voice to me, never threatened me, never made me feel unsafe. You are not your father, Dominic. How do you know? He is breathing hard now. How do you know I will not become exactly what he was? Because I see you. I take his hands and he tries to pull away, but I hold on. I see how you are with Sophia, with the staff, with me. You are capable of violence, yes, but you are also capable of tenderness, of grief, of love. That is the difference. He looks at me and tears are streaming down his face. He stops. I need to be alone. I nod and let him go, even though everything in me wants to hold him. The door slams behind him and I am left in the study with the scattered papers and the journal on the floor, and the weight of having destroyed his world. Marco finds me 20 minutes later. I have gathered the papers mechanically, trying to put things back in order, as if I can undo what has been revealed. Miss Mitchell. He stops in the doorway. Where is Dominic? I do not know. My voice is rough. We found something about his father and his mother. I think he needed space. Marco is quiet, then says, The medical records? I nod, surprised. You knew. I suspected. Vincent drank too much, especially in those final years with Isabella. When he drank, he became someone else. Not often, but enough. Most of us looked the other way. It was not our place to interfere between husband and wife. That is a convenient excuse. I cannot keep the anger from my voice. She was being hurt and everyone just looked away. We were wrong. Marco sits heavily. We were complicit in our silence. But you need to understand, Miss Mitchell. Vincent worshipped Isabella. When he was sober, he treated her like a queen. The violence was. He struggles for words. An aberration. A darkness he could not control. It does not make it right, but it was not who he was at his core. Then who was he? A broken man. Marco meets my eyes. A man who loved his wife desperately and hated himself for the times he hurt her. A man who spent the last 25 years of his life trying to atone by finding her killer. A man who died believing he had failed her. There is something else you need to know. He leans forward. The night Isabella died, Vincent was out of town. At a meeting in New York, he has an alibi. Dozens of witnesses. He could not have killed her. Then who? That is what we have been trying to figure out for 25 years. But there is something Dominic does not know. Something I have suspected, but could never prove. The meeting Vincent attended was about the merger with the Rossis. Antonio Rossi himself was Vincent's underboss at the time, his right hand, his most trusted lieutenant. Rossi. I try to process this, but I thought they were rivals. They became rivals after Isabella's death. Before that, Antonio was positioned to benefit enormously from the merger. More territory, more power, more money. But Isabella opposed it publicly, made speeches about violence and bloodshed, made Vincent look weak in front of the other families. What if Antonio saw her as an obstacle? What if he eliminated the problem? But why would Vincent suspect the Rossis then? Why spend 25 years hunting them if Antonio was his own man? Because Antonio was smart. He staged it to look like a rival hit, made sure there was evidence pointing to the Castellano family. And when Vincent started his hunt, Antonio encouraged it, kept him focused on external enemies while he built his own power base. Eventually, he had enough strength to break away, to become Vincent's rival instead of his subordinate, so he killed her and got away with it, and profited from it. Marco's face is grim. If my theory is correct, yes, but I have never been able to prove it. Antonio covered his tracks too well. Maybe my father's journals have something. I look at the scattered papers, some detail about that meeting or Antonio or... Where is Dominic? Marco stands suddenly. He is not in the house. The guard said he took his car. Where would he go? To her. Marco is already moving toward the door. To the cemetery. He goes there when he needs to think. To be close to her. I follow Marco through the house and we take one of the SUVs and drive to the far corner of the compound, where a small private cemetery sits behind iron gates. The rain that has been threatening all day finally breaks and we arrive to find Dominic's car parked crookedly and the gates standing open. I see him before Marco does. He is sitting on the ground beside a marble headstone, his expensive suit soaked through his head bowed. The rain falls steadily, and he does not move, does not acknowledge our approach, just sits there like a statue carved from grief. I will wait in the car, Marco says quietly. He needs you, not me. I walk through the rain and the graves are old, weathered by time and elements. Isabella's is in the center marked by white marble, with her name and dates, and below that, beloved wife and mother. Fresh flowers sit in a vase, Dominic's weekly ritual, even in death, tending to her. I sit beside him in the wet grass, not touching, just present. The rain soaks through my clothes immediately, and I shiver, but I do not leave. He does not acknowledge me for a long time. Then, he hit her. His voice is barely audible over the rain. My father. The man I have spent my life trying to honor. He hurt my mother. Yes, there is no point in lying. But he also loved her. I know you do not want to hear that right now, but it is true. People are complicated. They can love someone and still hurt them. Love does not excuse harm. No, I agree, it does not. But it does not erase the love either. Your father spent 25 years trying to find her killer. That means something. It means he was guilty, trying to atone for what he did to her. Maybe. Or maybe it means he genuinely wanted justice, wanted to give her peace even if he could not give her safety while she lived. How do you live with that? He turns to look at me finally and his face is ravaged. How do you hold both truths? That he loved her and hurt her. That he was a good father to me and a monster to her. How do you reconcile that? I do not know. I take his hand. But I know you are not him. I see it in everything you do. The way you treat your sister, the staff, me. You are capable of violence, yes, but you choose when and how to use it. You do not lash out. You do not hurt people weaker than you. You protect them. I am terrified of becoming him. The confession comes out raw. Every day I make choices about who to trust, who to hurt, who to protect, and I am always afraid that one day I will make the wrong choice. That I will become the thing I hate most. Your fear is what makes you different. I squeeze his hand. Your father did not fear becoming a monster. He probably told himself he was justified, that she provoked him, that it was not really his fault. But you question yourself. You are afraid. That means you will never stop fighting against that darkness. We sit in silence, and the rain washes over us, and I think about my father's words, about how Isabella could not leave, because she had to protect her children from the inside, and I understand now what she was protecting them from. Not just the violence of her husband's world, but the violence in her husband. She stayed to be a buffer to take the blows so they would not fall on Dominic and Sophia. Do you think she knew? Dominic asks. That my father hurt her because she opposed the merger. That she was killed because of that opposition. Do you think she saw it coming? I think she suspected something. Based on what my father wrote, she knew she was in danger. But I do not think she knew who or how. Maybe she thought your father would. He could not finish that sentence. Could not say would kill her. But she had to consider it. I tried to be gentle. She was trapped between a husband who hurt her when she opposed him and men who wanted her silent. She did the best she could. Tried to protect her children. Tried to stop the violence. And she died for it. And we have spent 25 years blaming the wrong people. He looks back at the gravestone. If Marco is right, if it was Antonio Rossi all along. Then we have work to do. I stand and offer him my hand. We find out the truth. We prove Antonio killed her. And then we make him pay. He takes my hand and lets me pull him to his feet. Not like my father would have. Not with mindless violence. But with justice. Real justice. Can there be justice after 25 years? There can be truth. And truth is a kind of justice. We walk back to the car together and Marco drives us to the house in silence. I am shivering from the cold and wet. And when we arrive, Dominic walks me to my suite. Thank you, he says at the door. For sitting with me. For not running when you saw the darkness in my family. I told you. I meet his eyes. Everyone has darkness. What matters is what we do with it. He reaches out and cups my face and his hand is cold from the rain, but his touch is gentle. You are extraordinary, Grace Mitchell. You make me want to be better than I am. You already are better. I lean into his touch. You just do not see it yet. He leans forward, and for a moment I think he will kiss me, but instead, he presses his forehead to mine, and we stand there breathing together. Tomorrow, we go through everything again. His voice is determined. Every journal, every record, every scrap of evidence. If Antonio Rossi killed my mother, I will prove it. And then he will answer for it. The way he should have 25 years ago. I nod, and he pulls back, and I watch him walk away down the corridor, and I know something has shifted between us. The revelation about his father has broken something in him, but it has also freed him. Freed him from the idealized version of Vincent he has been trying to live up to. Now he can choose who he wants to be instead of who he thinks he should be. That night, I cannot sleep. I keep thinking about Isabella trapped in a marriage that hurt her, trying to protect her children while fighting against the violence her husband's world demanded. She was brave. braver than I ever could have imagined, and my father saw that. Tried to help her, kept his promise even when she died. I pull out the journals and I read every entry about Isabella looking for something we missed. Some clue about Antonio Rossi, or the merger, or who wanted her dead. And then I find it. December 20th, 4 days before she died. Bella called tonight. She said Antonio came to see her today, told her to stop interfering with the merger, told her she was making Vincent look weak. She said there was something in his eyes, something cold, like he was already deciding what to do about her. She is terrified of him, more than she is of Vincent. I need to tell someone, but who? If I go to Vincent, he will confront Antonio, and that will only escalate things. If I go to the police, I will put Bella in more danger. All I can do is document this, bear witness, hope that someday someone will see this and know the truth. I read it 3 times. Here it is, proof that Antonio threatened Isabella, that she feared him, that my father knew and documented it. This is what we need. I throw on a robe and run barefoot through the house to Dominic's wing. The guards look at me strangely but do not stop me. I knock on his door and he answers immediately, like he was not sleeping either. Grace. What? I found it. I hold up the journal. Proof that your mother feared Antonio, that he threatened her days before she died. He takes the journal and reads, and I watch his face change from exhausted to alert. This is it. He looks up. This is what we need to connect him to her death. Combined with Marco's theory about the merger and his motive, we can build a case. Not for the police. His voice hardens. They had their chance 25 years ago. This is for us. For my family. For justice. What are you going to do? What I should have done years ago. He pulls out his phone. I am going to make Antonio Rossi confess. And then I am going to make him pay for what he took from us. Dominic, wait. I grab his arm. You cannot just... Cannot what? His eyes are blazing. Hunt down the man who killed my mother. Make him answer for 25 years of lies. Of letting my father chase ghosts while he built an empire on her blood. He deserves to die, Grace. Yes, I do not disagree. But not like this. Not in rage. Not in a way that makes you into your father. We do this smart. We gather all the evidence. We make sure we are right. And then we act. But we do it in a way your mother would have wanted. With justice, not just vengeance. He stares at me and I can see him fighting himself, fighting the urge to go to war right now tonight. Finally he nods. You are right. We do this carefully. But Grace, he takes my hand. When the time comes when we have proof and a plan, I will not show mercy. I am not asking you to. I squeeze his hand. I am asking you to be smart, to honor your mother by being better than the men who killed her. He pulls me into his arms and holds me tight, and I can feel his heart racing against my chest. Thank you, he whispers into my hair, for keeping me human, for reminding me who I want to be. I hold him back and we stand there in his doorway, and I know we are crossing lines that should not be crossed, but I do not care, because this man who has seen so much darkness is choosing light, and I want to be part of that choice. Tomorrow we will plan. Tonight I just want to be here with him, reminding both of us that even in the midst of grief and rage and the hunger for justice, there is still room for tenderness. Still room for 2 people holding each other against the dark. Still room for hope. We spend 3 days planning every detail, and the strategy is Marco's idea, born from decades of experience in this world, where deception is survival and truth is a weapon. We leak information through carefully chosen channels, let it slip that we have found evidence in Robert Mitchell's journals that proves Antonio Rossi killed Isabella Caruso 25 years ago. We make sure the rumors reach Antonio's people, make sure he knows we are building a case. And then we wait. The response comes faster than expected. Antonio himself calls Dominic's private line, and I am in the study when it happens, and I watch Dominic's face as he listens. Antonio, We have nothing to discuss. Dominic's voice is cold. Whatever happened between our families ended when you broke from my father. There is a long pause as Antonio speaks, and I see Dominic's jaw tighten. A meeting. To discuss peace. To put old grievances to rest. He looks at me, and I nod because this is what we hoped for. Antonio taking the bait. Fine. The Orpheum Theater. Tomorrow at dusk. Come alone or do not come at all. After he hangs up, Dominic turns to Marco. He will bring an army. Of course. Marco is already pulling up building schematics on his laptop. The theater has multiple entrances. We can position men throughout. He will not see them until it is too late. And Grace stays here. Dominic says it with finality. This is too dangerous. No. I stand. I am part of this. I have a role to play. Absolutely not. He moves toward me. Antonio is a killer. He has already proven he will hurt anyone who threatens him. I will not risk you. You need me there. I hold my ground. We discuss this. The plan only works if I am there. If I sing the song. It is the trigger. The thing that will break him. I can hire someone to sing. No, you cannot. I am fierce now. It has to be me. Isabella's voice through my father's teaching. It has to be authentic. It has to be the connection between our families. That is what will destroy him. She is right, Marco says quietly. The psychological impact. Hearing the daughter of Robert Mitchell sing Isabella's lullaby. It will unmake him. Dominic looks between us and I see the war in his eyes. The need to protect me versus the knowledge that I am right. If anything happens to you, he cannot finish. It will not. I take his hands. You will be there. Marco will be there. Your men will be there. And I trust you to keep me safe. That night, I barely sleep. I rehearse the lullaby over and over in my mind, thinking about Isabella teaching it to children at the community center, thinking about Marie Rossi, who I met 3 days ago when she came to the hospital. Marie is 32 now, a psychologist specializing in childhood trauma, and when I called her after finding a reference to her in my father's notes, she agreed to meet me. She told me about the memories that have been surfacing in therapy, about the pretty singing lady who came to their house, about her father's rage, about sounds she did not understand as a child but recognizes now as violence. She has agreed to testify to tell the truth even though it will destroy her father, because she says she cannot carry his sins anymore. Her courage gives me strength. The next day passes in a blur of preparation. Marco's men sweep the theater and plant surveillance equipment. Dominic reviews the plan a dozen times looking for weaknesses, and I practice the song until my voice is hoarse. As dusk approaches, I dress in simple black clothes, and Dominic insists I wear a bulletproof vest under my jacket. It is bulky and uncomfortable, but I do not argue. We drive to the Orpheum in separate cars, and I ride with Marco, who is calm and steady beside me. "You are very brave, Miss Mitchell," he says as we pull up to the abandoned theater. "Or very foolish. Maybe both." I try to smile, but my heart is racing. Isabella would be proud of you. Continuing her work, using music as a weapon against darkness. I hope so. The theater is a relic from another era, all ornate facade and crumbling grandeur. We enter through a side door, and I see Dominic is already inside, standing on the stage in a pool of light from the broken skylight. The space is vast and decaying, velvet seats torn and moldy, gilt fixtures tarnished. The stage dusty with debris, but the acoustics are still perfect. I whisper a word and it echoes. Dominic comes to me and takes my face in his hands. "Last chance to change your mind, to let me handle this without you." "No." I cover his hands with mine. "We do this together. If he shoots, he will have to go through me first. That is not comforting." I try to smile. You are not allowed to die for me, Dominic Caruso. That was not part of our deal. Our deal was that I keep you safe. He kisses my forehead, and I intend to keep that promise. Marco positions me in the wings where I can see but not be seen. Dominic's men are scattered throughout the theater, hidden in the balcony behind the tattered curtains in the old projection booth. We are as ready as we will ever be. Antonio arrives exactly at dusk, and he does not come alone. 6 men flank him, all armed, all scanning the theater for threats. Antonio himself is, in his late 50s, well-dressed with silver hair and cold eyes. He looks at Dominic with something like amusement. Dominic, so formal. Your father and I used to meet in places like this, back when we were building something together before my mother died. Dominic's voice is flat. Yes, before that unfortunate business. Antonio climbs onto the stage. I was sorry about Isabella. She was a beautiful woman, beautiful and foolish. Do not. Dominic's hand moves toward his weapon. Do not speak about her. Peace. Antonio holds up his hands. I came here to talk. You said you had evidence about her death. I am curious what you think you have found after all these years. We found the truth. A voice comes from the wings. My voice. I step into the light and Antonio's eyes narrow. And who are you? Grace Mitchell. I move to stand beside Dominic. Robert Mitchell's daughter. The name means nothing to him at first, then recognition dawns. The music teacher. From Lincoln Community Center. The same. I take a breath and begin to sing. The lullaby rises from deep in my chest and fills the theater. The acoustics carry it to every corner, making it sound like Isabella herself is singing. Nina, oh Nina, oh Nina, fan, fan, fan. I watch Antonio's face drain of color. Stop, his voice cracks. Stop that. I keep singing, and I see his hands start to shake. Behind him, his men look confused, uncertain why their boss is unraveling. When I finish, the silence is deafening. Isabella taught this song to children because she believed music could heal the darkness in the world. I speak clearly. She taught it to my father. And she taught it to your daughter, Antonio. Marie still remembers. You know nothing about my daughter. But his voice wavers. I know she attended the community center. I know she learned this lullaby. I know she was 5 years old the night Isabella Caruso came to your home to beg you not to push Vincent toward the merger. I know Marie heard her mother arguing with the pretty singing lady. I know she saw you come home angry. This is nonsense. Antonio looks at his men. She is making up stories. Is she? Dominic steps forward. Because Marie is willing to testify. She has spent years in therapy recovering the memories she suppressed. She remembers you on the phone afterward, your hands shaking, telling someone to make it look like the Castellanos did it. You are lying. But Antonio is sweating now. My daughter would never. She already has. I pull out my phone and play a recording. Marie's voice fills the theater. I remember the singing lady. She was kind to me, taught me songs in Italian. The night she came to our house, I heard shouting. My mother and the singing lady. Then my father came home and there was a crash. A scream. When I came downstairs, the singing lady was on the floor by the fireplace. She was not moving. My father was standing over her. And then he saw me, and he told me to go to my room. Told me to forget what I saw, that it was a bad dream, but it was not a dream. He killed her. And I have carried that truth for 25 years. The recording ends and Antonio is shaking. She is lying. She does not remember correctly. She was a child. Trauma does not lie. I step closer. She suppressed the memory to protect herself, but it never went away. And now she is ready to tell the truth, to free herself from your sins. You killed her. Dominic's voice is deadly quiet. You killed my mother and let my father spend 25 years hunting ghosts. You destroyed my family. Vincent was weak. The words burst out of Antonio. He would have ruined us all with his softness. The merger with the Rossis would have made us untouchable, but he listened to Isabella. Let her fill his head with nonsense about violence and blood. She made him weaker, made him question everything. I did what had to be done. The confession hangs in the air, and I see Antonio realize his mistake. You just confessed. Dominic gestures to the theater. In front of 12 witnesses. My men have recorded every word. You are finished, Antonio. For a long moment, no one moves. Then Antonio pulls a gun and aims it at Dominic. If I am finished, then I am taking you with me. Dominic does not flinch. You can try, but you will not leave this theater alive. My men have you surrounded. Surrender and you will face justice. Your kind of justice. Antonio laughs bitterly. A bullet in an alley. No, Grace's justice. Dominic's voice is hard. The kind my mother would have wanted. Federal agents are outside. You will stand trial. Your daughter will testify. You will spend the rest of your life in prison, knowing that everyone knows what you did. That your legacy is murder and cowardice. Better to die. Antonio's finger tightens on the trigger, but he swings the gun toward me. If I am going down, I am taking her. The woman who brought all this to light. No. Dominic moves faster than I thought possible, throwing himself between me and Antonio. The gun fires and the sound is deafening in the enclosed space. I scream as Dominic staggers, but he does not fall. The bulletproof vest. He is wearing one too. Antonio fires again, but this time, Marco's men move. Shots ring out from the balcony, and Antonio's gun hand explodes in blood. He drops the weapon screaming, and his men throw down their weapons and raise their hands. It is over in seconds. Federal agents flood the theater. Marco had contacted them hours ago, made a deal. Justice through legal means in exchange for testimony about Antonio's organization. Antonio is on his knees clutching his bleeding hand, and he looks up at Dominic with hatred. Your mother was a fool, and you are just like her. No. Dominic kneels beside him. I am exactly like her. I chose justice over vengeance, truth over violence. That is her legacy, not yours. He stands and comes to me and pulls me into his arms. Are you hurt? Did he? I am fine. But my voice shakes. You threw yourself in front of a bullet. I said I would protect you. He holds me tighter. I meant it. You could have died. So could you. He pulls back to look at me. And that was unacceptable. Grace, He stops. I love you. I know it is fast. I know the circumstances are insane. But watching you stand there and sing, using your father's gift and my mother's song to bring a killer to justice, I have never seen anything braver. I love you too. The words come easily because they are true. I have been falling for you since that first night in the hospital, since you fell to your knees when you heard me sing. We kissed there in the chaos of the abandoned theater, with federal agents securing Antonio and his men, with Marco watching with a small smile, with the ghost of Isabella and my father surrounding us, and it feels like coming home. Later at the hospital, where we both get checked out, despite the bulletproof vests, I sit in an examination room, and Marie Rossi finds me. Thank you, she says, for believing me, for helping me tell the truth. You saved yourself. I take her hand. You chose to speak, to break the cycle. That took incredible courage. My father will hate me, probably, but you will be free, free from his secrets, free from the weight of carrying his sins. Is it worth it? She asks. Destroying your family for the truth. I think about Dominic waiting for me outside. About how the truth of his father's abuse hurt him but also freed him. About how Isabella's real story has given him a path forward. Yes, I say, the truth is always worth it. Because lies keep us trapped, truth sets us free. When I emerge, Dominic is there and he takes my hand and we walk out of the hospital together into the night. The same hospital where this all started, where I sang to his dying father, and set in motion a chain of events that brought us here. It is over, I say. It is. He agrees. And it is not. What happens now? Now. He stops and turns to face me. Now we build something new. Something my mother would be proud of. We honor her legacy the right way. Through music, through compassion, through choosing light over darkness. We visit the cemetery that night and stand before Isabella's grave. I sing the lullaby one more time, and this time it is not a weapon. It is a gift, a promise kept, a mother's love reaching across 25 years to touch her son. We found him. Dominic speaks to the headstone. Antonio Rossi. He confessed. He is going to prison for what he did to you. And Mama. His voice breaks. I am sorry it took so long. Sorry Papa and I chased the wrong enemies for so many years. But we know the truth now. Grace helped me find it. You would like her. She has your heart, your belief that music can heal, your courage. I stand beside him, and I think about my father and Isabella and the promise that bound them. The promise that ultimately brought Dominic and me together. Your father kept his word. I say to the grave, he taught me your song, and it found your son when he needed it most. We stand in silence and the night is peaceful. The compound lights glow in the chill. Distance. Somewhere in the city, Marie Rossi is beginning her new life free from her father's shadow. Antonio is in custody facing justice, and we are here. Two people connected by tragedy and music and love. Ready to build something beautiful from the ashes of the past. Ready to honor the dead by living well. Ready to prove that even in the darkest world, there is still room for light. The federal agents arrive at dawn 3 days after we finalize our plan, and I watch from the study window as they surround Antonio Rossi's estate with the precision of a military operation. Dominic stands beside me, his hand resting on the small of my back, and neither of us speaks as we witness the culmination of 25 years of searching. Dominic made a deal with the FBI trading information about Antonio's criminal operations in exchange for handling this through legal channels, and I know what that cost him. Every instinct in his world demands blood, for blood demands that he personally end the man who killed his mother, but he is choosing a different path. For her. For the woman who opposed violence, who believed in justice, who wanted her children to have better lives than the one she lived. The evidence we gathered is overwhelming. My father's journals documenting Isabella's fear and Antonio's threats. Marco's testimony about the merger and Antonio's motive. Financial records showing Antonio profited enormously from Isabella's death, consolidating power while Vincent grieved. And the final piece that broke the case wide open. Marie Rossi. Antonio's own daughter, who recovered suppressed memories in therapy of the night her mother and Isabella argued of her father's rage of the phone call afterward, where he told someone to make it look like the Castellanos did it. She came forward 3 days ago, walked into the FBI field office, and gave a statement that corroborated everything we suspected. I meet her yesterday, a woman my age with her father's dark eyes, but her mother's gentle demeanor. And she told me she has spent 25 years carrying the weight of what she witnessed. I was 5 years old, she said. I heard them arguing. My mother and the pretty singing lady. Mama was angry, said the lady was ruining everything. Then Papa came home and I hid because I knew he was in one of his moods. I heard him yelling, heard something break. Then silence. Later I saw him on the phone, and his hands were shaking and he kept saying it had to look like someone else. I blocked it out for so long, convinced myself it was a nightmare. But it was real. It was all real. She wept as she told me, and I held her hand, and I thought about how violence destroys not just its direct victims, but everyone in its orbit. 2 daughters, one who lost her mother to murder, one who lost her father to the truth of what he did. Both of us trying to build lives from the wreckage. Now as I watch the agents lead Antonio out in handcuffs, I feel no triumph. Just a deep, exhausted relief that it is finally over. Dominic's hand tightens on my back. It is done. His voice is quiet. She can rest now. Yes. I lean into him. And so can you. We turn from the window and Marco enters the study. The FBI has everything they need. He looks older somehow, as if the revelation about Antonio, who was once his colleague, his friend, has aged him. They are confident they can make the charges stick. Good. Dominic nods. Thank you, Marco. For everything. For believing me when I said we needed to do this the right way. I did not believe you at first. Marco admits with a slight smile. Thought you were going soft. But Miss Grace here. He looks at me. She reminded us what Isabella stood for. What she would have wanted. Justice, not vengeance. We are about to respond when Dominic's phone rings. It is one of his men, and I watch his face change as he listens. What? When? His voice goes hard. I am on my way. What is wrong? I ask as he ends the call. Antonio's people. Some of them do not want to see their boss go down quietly. They are making a move. On what? On us. He is already moving, grabbing his gun from the desk drawer. They know we provided the evidence. They are coming here. How many? Enough. He looks at Marco. Get Sophia to the safe room. Get Grace. I am not hiding. I cut him off. If they are coming for you, they are coming for me too. We face this together. Grace, this is not. Do not. I step close to him. Do not try to protect me by shutting me out. Not now. Not after everything. We are in this together, remember. Partners. He searches my face, then nods. Partners. Stay close to me. Do exactly what I say. And if I tell you to run, you run. Understood. Understood. The next 20 minutes are chaos. Dominic's security team mobilizes. The compound goes into lockdown. Armed men take positions at every entrance. Marco hustles Sophia away despite her protests, and I stay with Dominic in the study, watching the security monitors as 3 SUVs approach the gates. They are not trying to be subtle, Dominic says grimly. They are making a statement. What kind of statement? That even if Antonio goes down, his people will exact revenge. That no one crosses the Rossi family without paying the price. He checks his weapon. Stay behind me. When they breach the gates, which they will, I want you to. The explosion cuts him off. One of the SUVs rams through the iron gates, and men pour out firing at the house. Dominic shoves me to the floor behind his desk and returns fire through the window. The sound is deafening, and I cover my ears and try not to panic. This is really happening. People are shooting at us, at him, because we sought justice for his mother. The firefight lasts maybe 5 minutes, though it feels like hours. Dominic's men are well trained, and they have the advantage of defensive positions. But Antonio's people are desperate, and desperate men are dangerous. I hear glass shattering, shouting in Italian, the sharp crack of gunfire. And through it all, Dominic stands between me and the window, between me and the danger, his body a shield. Then I hear footsteps in the hallway. Someone got inside. Dominic hears it too, and he turns toward the door, gun raised. The door bursts open, and a man I do not recognize enters, weapon drawn. He sees Dominic and fires, but Dominic is faster. He shoots first, and the man goes down. But there is another behind him, and this one is aiming not at Dominic, but at me. I see it happen in slow motion, the gun swinging toward where I crouch behind the desk. Dominic seeing it too. His body already moving, already throwing himself between me and the bullet. The shot, the impact. Dominic going down. No. The scream tears from my throat, and I am on my knees beside him. His shoulder is bleeding badly, the bullet having torn through the expensive fabric of his suit and into flesh. His face is white with pain, but his eyes are focused on me. Are you hurt? Those are his first words, not about himself, about me. Are you hurt, Grace? No. I press my hands to his shoulder, trying to stop the bleeding. No, I am fine, but you. You idiot, you could have been killed. Better me than you. He tries to smile, but it comes out as a grimace. I have lived in darkness most of my life. You are the first light I have seen in 25 years. I was not going to let it go out. Do not talk like that. Tears stream down my face. You are not darkness, Dominic. You never were. The second gunman is down, now taken out by Marco, who appears in the doorway. The shooting outside has stopped. We need to get him to a hospital, Marco says. No. Dominic grabs my wrist with his good hand. No hospitals. Too public. Too many questions. Grace can. I am not equipped to treat a gunshot wound here. I am already applying pressure, already assessing the damage. You need a hospital. You need surgery. St. Augustine's, then. His eyes hold mine. Where this all started. Where I first heard you sing. It feels right somehow. Full circle. Marco makes the call, and within minutes, we are in an armored SUV, racing through the city. I sit in the back with Dominic, his head in my lap, his blood on my hands, and I sing softly. The lullaby. The song that brought us together. Nina, oh Nina, oh Nina. Fan, fan, fan. His eyes close, and I can see some of the tension leave his face even as his breathing stays labored. Keep singing, he whispers. Please. So I do. All the way to the hospital I sing, and when we arrive and the ER staff rush out with a gurney, I am still singing. They know me here, of course. Grace. Dr. Patel appears. What happened? Gunshot wound to the shoulder. I switch into professional mode. Entry and exit wound. Significant bleeding but no arterial involvement as far as I can tell. He needs surgery. We will take him. Dr. Patel signals to the team. I am coming with him. Grace, you cannot. I am treating him. I use my most authoritative voice. Private room. I will assist. Dr. Patel looks at Dominic, who manages a nod, then back at me. Fine, but you follow my lead. The surgery takes 3 hours. The bullet went through cleanly, missing major blood vessels, but causing significant muscle damage. I assist throughout, and my hands are steady, even though my heart is racing. This man who threw himself in front of a bullet for me. This man who chose justice over vengeance to honor his mother. This man I have fallen for despite every reason not to. When it is over, we move him to a private recovery room, and I stay with him as he wakes from anesthesia. His eyes find mine immediately. You are crying. His voice is weak. I am the one who got shot. You threw yourself in front of a bullet for me. I wipe my eyes, but the tears keep coming. You could have died. But I did not. He reaches for my hand with his good arm. And you are safe. That is all that matters. I should be furious with you for being so reckless, but all I can feel is gratitude. I bring his hand to my lips. Does this mean you will sing to me? He asks with a ghost of his old smile. Like you did for my father. I laugh through my tears. Is that what you want? I want to hear your voice. I want to remember why I am still here. Why I chose to do this the right way instead of burning everything down. So I sing. Sitting beside his hospital bed, holding his hand, I sing the lullaby that his mother sang to him, that my father preserved, that brought us together across 25 years in tragedy. And as I sing, tears stream down both our faces. When I finish, he is quiet for a long moment. Thank you. For what? For giving me back my mother. For showing me there is another way. For... He stops. For loving me even when I did not deserve it. I have fallen for you. I admit, for the first time saying it out loud, despite every logical reason not to, despite the danger and the complications and the absolute insanity of our circumstances, I have fallen completely and utterly for you, Dominic Caruso. I love you. His voice is rough with emotion. I know it is fast. I know the circumstances are insane, But the moment I heard you sing to my father, the moment you showed me that kind of compassion for a stranger, I knew. I knew you were going to change everything. I know. I leaned forward carefully, mindful of his injury. I felt it too, like something that should have happened years ago finally finding its moment. What do you want, Grace? He asks. When this is all over, when I have recovered, when Antonio is behind bars, what do you want your life to look like? I think about this, about my quiet apartment that no longer exists, about my routine that was shattered, about the person I was before I sang that song. I do not want to go back. I realize. I do not want my old life. I want… what? I want to build something new. With you. Not in the shadow of our parents' tragedies, but in the light of what they died trying to protect. Love, music, compassion. I want to honor them by creating something beautiful from all this pain. He smiles and it transforms his face. I am stepping back from the family business, not leaving it. Entirely. Marco will take over day-to-day operations, but I am transitioning everything toward legitimate enterprises. It is what my mother wanted, what she died trying to achieve. And I want… He pauses. I want to establish a foundation in her name, for domestic violence survivors, for women like her who are trapped and afraid. I want to give them resources, safety, a way out. I can help with that. The idea takes shape in my mind. I know the medical side. I can connect us with social workers, therapists. We can make a real difference. We will. He squeezes my hand. Together. The recovery takes weeks, but Dominic is a stubborn patient, and he heals faster than expected. During that time, Antonio Rossi is formally charged with murder, conspiracy, racketeering, and a dozen other crimes. Marie's testimony combined with our evidence and Antonio's own confession, recorded during the confrontation at the theater, is overwhelming. The trial will take months, but the outcome is certain. Antonio will spend the rest of his life in prison. Justice. Not the violent vengeance Dominic's world would have demanded, but real justice. 3 months later, I stand in the Lincoln Community Center, which Dominic has purchased and completely renovated. The building that was falling apart when our parents taught here is now bright and clean and full of possibility. The music room where Isabella and my father met has been restored. New instruments line the walls. A beautiful piano sits where the old broken one used to be. And today is the grand opening of the Isabella Caruso Foundation for Music Education and Domestic Violence Support. Children fill the room, their excited chatter a symphony of hope. I am teaching them the lullaby. Nina, oh Nina, oh Nina, fan, fan, fan. They stumble over the Italian words, giggling when they get it wrong, trying again with the fearless enthusiasm of youth. A small girl raises her hand. Miss Grace, why is that song so special? I glance toward the doorway where Dominic stands watching. He is dressed casually in jeans and a sweater, his arm still in a sling but healing well. Sophia is beside him holding a tray of coffee for the volunteers. And just arriving is Marie Rossi, who has become part of our family, part of this healing. Because someone very brave taught it to my father so it would not be forgotten, I tell the children. And now we are making sure it lives on, so that whenever anyone sings it, they remember that love is stronger than hate. That music can heal, that even in the darkest times there is beauty worth preserving. The children nod solemnly, taking in the importance, even if they do not fully understand. We sing it together one more time and I watch Dominic's face. He is not crying this time. He is smiling. The same position he was in that first night in the hospital, standing in a doorway listening to me sing his mother's lullaby. But everything has changed. Instead of falling to his knees in grief, he stands tall. Instead of tears, there is peace. Instead of vengeance, there is purpose. After the class, Sophia brings us coffee. You are good with them, she observes, watching the children. Mama would have loved this. She would have loved you too, I tell her. And she would be so proud of what your brother is building, what we are building together. Sophia corrects with a knowing smile. I am not blind, Grace. I see the way he looks at you. Like you hung the moon. Like you gave him back something he thought was lost forever. She is not wrong. Dominic comes to stand beside me, and his good arm wraps around my waist. Ready? He asks. For what? To keep my promise. We drive to the cemetery in comfortable silence. The compound is behind us now. Dominic sold it last month. Too many ghosts, too much pain. We are living in a renovated brownstone near the community center, building a life together, building something new. The cemetery is peaceful in the afternoon light. Flowers bloom everywhere, and the city is visible in the distance, but feels far away. We walk to Isabella's grave where the marble headstone gleams in the sun. Dominic sets down the flowers we brought, fresh roses from her favorite variety, and then he places a small wooden music box on the grave, the one from his mother's music room that we had repaired. He winds it carefully, and when he opens it, the delicate mechanism plays the lullaby. Nina, oh Nina, oh Nina, fan, fan, fan. The notes are pure and sweet, and they carry on the breeze like a prayer, like a promise kept. She would be proud of you, I say softly, of everything you have become, everything you are choosing to build. She would be grateful to you. Dominic takes my hand. You kept her promise alive, kept the song going when everyone else had forgotten, brought it back to me when I needed it most. We kept it alive together. I lean my head on his good shoulder. Your mother and my father. They gave us a gift even if they did not know it. They connected us across time, gave us a purpose, a way to transform pain into something beautiful. Do you think she can hear it? He asks, watching the music box. The lullaby when you sing it. When we teach it to the children. When we play it here. I think love never really dies, I say. It just changes form. Your mother's love became a song, and that song led us to each other. It led us to this work, to these children, to Marie finding healing by helping others. So yes, I think she hears it. And I think she is at peace. I hope so. He is quiet. I hope she knows that I finally understand what she was trying to teach me. That there is more than one kind of strength. That choosing mercy is harder than choosing violence. That building something is more important than destroying your enemies. She knows. I am certain of this. And your father is proud too. That you honored his promise. That you used his documentation to find justice. That you are teaching that song to a new generation. We stand together as the music box plays, and the sun moves lower in the sky, and I think about the journey that brought us here. A lullaby sung in a hospital room, a mystery spanning 25 years, two families bound by tragedy finding healing together. I think about my father writing in his journals about a brave woman who trusted him, about Isabella volunteering at that community center despite the risks, about both of them believing that music and compassion could make a difference even in a dark world. They were right. The foundation is thriving. We have helped 15 women leave abusive situations in the last 3 months. The music program serves over 100 children. Marie works with us teaching art therapy to trauma survivors. Sophia volunteers teaching music history. Marco, who officially retired from the family business, runs our security, making sure the women we help stay safe. And Dominic. He has transformed. He still commands respect, still has power. But he uses it differently now. Builds instead of destroys. Protects instead of threatens. Loves openly instead of guarding his heart. The music box winds down and the last notes fade into silence. We should go, Dominic says. The children's recital is tonight. I want to hear them perform the lullaby. As we walk back to the car, his phone rings. He glances at it. Marco. Probably about security for tonight. He answers and I watch his face change. What? When? His voice goes sharp. We will be right there. What is wrong? One of the women at the shelter. Her ex found her. He is outside the building threatening. Marco has security there, but he thought we should know. We need to go. I am already moving toward the car. This is exactly why we do this work, why the foundation matters. We arrive at the shelter, which is a nondescript building in a quiet neighborhood to find police already on scene. Marco meets us outside. She is safe, he assures us. We got her and her children into the secure room before he could get close. But Grace, he looks at me. She is asking for you. She says you are the only one she trusts. I go inside and find Maria, a woman I helped leave her abusive husband 2 months ago. She is trembling in the secure room, her two small children clinging to her. He found us. She is crying. I was so careful. I did everything you said. How did he find us? We will figure that out. I sit beside her. But right now, you and your children are safe. The police are handling your ex. He cannot hurt you. I am so tired, she whispers. Tired of running. Tired of being afraid. Tired of looking over my shoulder. I know. I take her hand. But you are also brave. You left. You chose safety for yourself and your children. That takes incredible courage. She looks at me with red-rimmed eyes. You do not know what it is like to love someone who hurts you, to want to believe they will change, to feel trapped. You are right, I admit. But I knew someone who did. Someone who stayed too long because she was trying to protect her children. Someone who died because she could not find a way out. I do not want that to be your story, Maria. I want you to have the ending she did not get. The chance to build a new life, to be free. She nods slowly. The recital tonight. Will there be children there? Lots of them. Learning music. Learning that there is beauty in the world. You and your children should come. After things settle down here, come see what you are building toward. A life where your kids can just be kids. We stay until Maria is calm, until her ex is arrested, until the police assure us the shelter's location has not been compromised. Then we go to the community center, where children and parents fill the music room for the evening recital. I watch them perform the songs we have taught them, including the lullaby, and I see parents wiping tears. I see Sophia beaming with pride. I see Marie recording on her phone to share with the other volunteers. And I see Dominic watching it all with an expression of such peace and contentment that it takes my breath away. After the recital, as families file out, thanking us, praising the program, promising to return, Dominic pulls me aside. I have something for you. He reaches into his pocket. What is it? A choice. He pulls out a small box and opens it to reveal a simple gold ring with a single diamond. I know we have not been together long by normal standards. I know our relationship started in the strangest circumstances. But Grace. He takes my hand. I cannot imagine my life without you. Cannot imagine doing this work, building this foundation, healing from the past with anyone else. Will you marry me? Will you build this life with me? Not because of our parents or their legacy, but because we choose each other. Yes. The word comes without hesitation. Yes, to all of it. To building a life together, to choosing each other, to transforming everything our parents went through into something beautiful. He slips the ring on my finger and kisses me, and around us, I hear applause. The volunteers and staff who have gathered are clapping, and Sophia is crying happy tears, and Marco is grinning, and for a moment, everything is perfect. That night, we return to Isabella's grave one more time, just the two of us. The music box is still there, and Dominic winds it again. As the lullaby plays, I lean against him and look up at the stars. Your mother would have loved this, I say. The foundation, the work we are doing, the life we are building. I hope so. He kisses the top of my head. I hope she knows that I finally understand. That I finally see what she was trying to show me. That love and compassion and music are not weaknesses. They are the strongest things we have. The music box plays and I sing along softly. Nina, oh Nina, oh Nina, fan, fan, fan. And I think about that night in the hospital. About singing to a dying man. About the song that brought a mafia boss to his knees. About how grief can transform into love and vengeance can transform into justice, and how two broken people can find each other across the wreckage of their families' pasts and build something new. The song ends and Dominic and I stand together in the peaceful cemetery, and I know with absolute certainty that this is what Isabella wanted. This is what my father hoped for when he kept his promise. Not just that the lullaby would survive, but that it would bring healing, that it would connect broken pieces, that it would transform darkness into light. We leave the music box playing as we walk away. Behind us, the melody continues soft and sweet, a testament to a mother's love, a father's promise, and two people who found each other through a song. The promise has been kept. The song lives on. And from tragedy and pain and 25 years of searching has come something beautiful. Something worth singing about. Something that will echo through generations, carrying Isabella's love and Robert's faithfulness, and the proof that even in the darkest times, even in a world built on violence and fear, there is still room for music and mercy and the kind of love that transcends death itself.